Am I sexy?
Let's change the topic. What did the baby corn say to the daddy corn? Hey, Pop, why so salty?
Look at my wedges! Tail in my face all the time. Welcome to TUVlog 27. Say it to you, Cat. You gotta be the vlog introduction. You know that's tradition. TU Kitty! Wow, it is bright in here today. TU Cat just fell off the table. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see that, buddy. Okay, so I just shaved today and like, I don't know. I think I got a little too close. It feels weird. TU Cat, why are you always bumping on the camera, man? Like, we know you're here. But for real though, it is like super bright out today. TUVlog 26 is up and it's really, I just kicked the box, scared the cat. It's really long, it's super long, a lot longer than they usually are. The reason for that is I thought that I wasn't saying a whole lot in this vlog. So I didn't put a whole, I let it keep going basically. I went 2 weeks instead of the usual 1 week. And then I said a lot more than I remembered saying. Like when I transferred everything off the card, I was like, this one's gonna be long. Gonna talk today about cell phone service because my Ting bill finally came due. I'm gonna talk about some of the MVNO options that are out there, things like that. And yeah, just kind of see how day one of the TU vlog goes. That's when I get a lot of the comments. I got pretty opinionated in this one, unusually so. Of course, I voiced my opinions on the whole Casey Neistat election thing, which that's kind of old news now. But then I got like pretty heated about Apple on a couple of different occasions, which was a little bit strange. I don't know what triggered me. Uh-oh, speaking of triggered, I think one of TU Cat's hairs floated into my eye. That happens more than you think. It really is bright. Like looking out this window right now, I don't know what the deal is. What was I talking about now? I don't remember. Oh yeah, so something just got me fired up about Apple and I kind of went on a tangent about that. So it'll be interesting to see the response I get from that because I know a few people that watch the vlog, I'm sure, are Apple users. If you use Apple, that's fine. For me, it really just kind of rubs me the wrong way. So I got a little bit carried away with it. Just mainly because I'm shopping for a new laptop right now and that kind of got me worked up. The whole reason I sat down here actually was I need to get the memory card. I think it's in the camera. This is the thing I don't like about the Sony RX100 IV. Yeah, the memory card is in there. So I've got this stand that I use for when I'm just setting the camera down because you guys got tired of this situation and being all shaky. And I get that, so I'm trying to stabilize things a little bit by actually setting the camera down. Sit down, TU Cat. But where is the attachment? Oh, the attachment's in the kitchen. TU Cat, you behave. I got the camera rolling. You do anything, I'm gonna know. Did you behave yourself, sir? I think I hear the mail. That's unusually early. It's only 3 o'clock and the mail might actually be here today. So this camera attaches to this tripod in a very simplistic way. This is the cheaper version of the Joby, and the reason I went for this one is apparently this one's actually a little bit more rigid than the more expensive version. They may have fixed that by now, but at the time I bought it, that was the case. So the downside to that is it uses a very kind of cheap connection to connect to the tripod. I wouldn't really feel comfortable putting a very expensive camera on here because it's just this little piece of plastic and it slides in there. Now the Sony RX100, it's light. I mean, it's kind of heavy for a point and shoot, but it's light compared to a DSLR. Pardon the beeping van is back. So it attaches to this thing. And there's a good chance TU Cat's gonna knock that tripod off. The issue is, the way it attaches is you screw this thing into the bottom. So now if you look, the battery compartment door is right here and it continues on past this point. So in order to get the memory card out, I always have to take this off. Which isn't a huge deal, but it's definitely a little bit annoying. I wish I didn't have to do that every time I needed to get the memory card out. So now what I need to do, which is what I do after every vlog, is format the memory card and charge the camera because the battery on this thing is not fantastic. You can see I haven't taken very much video with this since the last charge, and I can't see anything in the viewfinder today. The battery indicator went off. But anyway, it's down by 2, and I really haven't taken a whole lot of video. So then you gotta go into the dreaded Sony menu system. A lot of people hate it and I understand why. It would definitely be easier if it was touchscreen. You gotta go into like the little like suitcase maintenance menu, and then you gotta go on to like menu 5 to get to format. And then when you format the card, it does take the camera a little while to actually complete the formatting process, which is, you know, kind of weird because the Canon does it like instantaneously when you tell it to format. Canon, you hold in focus? But the Canon does it right away, and the Sony takes a little while. And the weird thing is it does that like classic Windows trait where it has the status bar that's kind of going along and then it just goes like that and says it's done, which is what it just did. That wasn't a huge amount of time. There also wasn't a huge amount of data on the card. And it does seem to vary based on how much you have on there. But I always make a point to format both cards after I get done with the vlog. That way when I start with the next one, I've got a fresh set of files to work with. But yeah, so I'm gonna plug in the camera, I'm gonna follow up, the computer went to sleep again, follow up on the tweets I'm getting today, see what kind of comments come in. There's no way anybody, unless they've jumped ahead, has made it to the point where I kind of start losing it on Apple a little bit at the end. So I won't get those comments for at least another couple of hours if someone's actually watching it in real-time runtime. So I'm gonna go plug in the camera, I'm gonna get rolling. It's pretty early in the afternoon still, so a lot of the day ahead. Obviously it's very sunny outside and it's pretty nice, so probably go spend some time outside pretty soon here since I'm through all of my junk mail and actual email and all the fun stuff that comes with getting up in the morning and sitting down at the computer and just going, why? See, there's another email. So many things overnight. And usually the overnight stuff's not good, it's usually junk. So I try to clear my inbox out in the morning and then before I go to bed, because that makes the morning a little bit easier if you take care of things the night before. So, planning. To you, cat. Meow meow. Meow meow. Look what you knocked on the floor. Scared yourself with that, didn't you? Time to go get the mail. Time to see what exciting things have possibly come in the mail today. My hopes aren't super high, but we will see. I've always got to watch TU Cat when I go outside though, because he always wants to come out. Alright. Look at this day. I'm gonna have to turn on the ND filter to stand a chance of this working. This bush really needs to be trimmed. It's getting out of control. Look how tall that thing is. It's ridiculous. And this pinwheel made it the entire summer. I am impressed. It's faded as crap, but it made it. Alright, got people mowing their grass. Things going on. Halloween decorations going on. No mail. There's one guy down the street that has some crazy decorations. What is that? Got trash in my yard. I'm gonna be the good person, pick it up. Which means now I gotta go back into the garage. Things that I do. Squeaky. Alright. So we've gone full circle. Alright, so no mail today, nothing exciting to report there. TU Cat's on the move. Let's see, what else? It is really nice out. I need to get the black backdrop up on this wall. So that may be today's project. I want to get that done. I also need to turn off the ND filter. It's the only bad part about this camera. It's not automatic, but it is easy to get to. Right, TU Cat? So, yeah, what I want to do is just like pin it up. So I may actually get a hammer and nails to do it because it'll make more sense. And just kind of drape it down here. But that means this thing's going to have to move out of here, which means these boxes are gonna have to get out of the way. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere out here. That's the problem. Now the office is all clean and organized, but I got all of this, and I can't put it in the room that I usually put stuff in, because this. I can't even get the door open in here. Look at this place. This is crazy. So, yeah. So much stuff in here. Need to figure out what to do with that. Box of stuff from my last job that I still haven't unboxed. Shows you how much crap I kept in my office at my old job too, that I have left it in that room since. Right, TU Cat? Yep. I just keep crap everywhere. Oh yeah, then there's these boxes too. And the box for the fire. In fact, I think the Fire Rose keyboard, yeah, it's actually in there. Okay. So, yeah. The moral of that story is, I need to get cleaned up. I need to get some daylight in here as well. The camera always loves this. It throws it off, changing the light levels. Well, I went out earlier to check the mail. As you saw, there was nothing there, and I really thought that the mail had already been here. I thought I heard it come by. It is 5:30 and the mail's just arriving. I used to get mail at like 2 o'clock. So I don't know what's going on. I think USPS may be cutting back on the number of employees that they have, because it's kind of ridiculous that the mail's been coming later and later and later and later. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4, now 5:30. I mean, there was never a time I got home from work and checked the mail and it wasn't here. I mean, I'm not complaining, it's still getting delivered, but it's just interesting that it keeps slipping further and further back. And we haven't even hit the holiday season yet, so I'm kind of wondering if USPS is gonna bring more people on board, or if these drivers are just getting completely overworked, because it seems, I mean, they haven't even come down my street yet. I just see them in the neighborhood. It seems like these people are putting in a lot of hours, unless maybe they're starting later in the day, but I mean, it's past quitting time if you're a 9-to-5er, and it's a government job, so I would assume it's supposed to be a 9-to-5 thing, but I don't know. Is anybody out there a USPS employee? Have you noticed this? Are they cutting back? What's going on? Why is the mail like consistently getting delivered later and later and later? It's interesting. It's one of those things that doesn't really affect me in any way, but I notice, and it kind of bothers me for some completely unreasonable reason. Also, it's getting closer and closer to that time of year where it's going to be time to turn the heat on for the first time in the house, and that always smells terrible. So I'm curious as well. I reach out to you, TUVlog community. Do you have any tips on dealing with the nasty smell that comes from the furnace the first time you turn it on? It's gotta be dust that has settled somewhere, but I don't know where that dust would settle. I'm not an HVAC technician, but I know every year when I turn the heat on, for the first like hour, it smells like burning and terrible, and it always makes me worried that something's on fire. But I really think it's just like the dust and things that have settled throughout the course of the summer. But I don't really know where to look. I've got one of those electronic air blower things that I could use to clean it out if I know where to look, but I don't know where to look for that. I've cleaned the return air, I've put a new furnace filter in, and those things haven't worked. So I'm curious. What do I do? What do I do about the smelly, burning heat smell the first time I turn on the heat? I'm gonna actually go with the mail now. Very late, you know, it's pretty soon. The mail is not gonna be delivered until after it's dark, which is gonna be weird. All right, well, it's getting a little dark in here, and you might hear the space heater in the background. I'm still trying to avoid turning on the heat, but sometimes I think that running the space heater is actually less cost effective than just turning on the heat sometimes, so I'm kind of getting to that threshold, but we've still got a few warm days coming up. But this is a perfect example of why I love doing the vlog. So, excuse me. You may notice that when I'm recording on the 70D, a lot of times it seems like I'm overexposed. So I got a comment to try limiting the ISO to 400 on auto ISO. And then we just kind of went back and forth, and I pointed out, you know, even on the Canon when it says that it's kind of leveled, you know, you got that thing that can go back and forth, and it's showing it in the middle right where it should be, it still seems to be a little hot. It's still a little bit bright. So we just kind of had a nice little back and forth, and he even said he notices brightness with auto ISO. You know, the screen bright, it can be misleading, and you kind of got to just go by what, you know, what you think looks best, basically. So yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. I find on the Sony, with this camera, I kind of just let it do whatever it's gonna do. It seems to do an okay job of being on kind of par where it should be. Whereas the Canon, if I set that thing on auto, it goes kind of wild. So that's the thing, and so I got the tip, limit the ISO. Don't let it go so far. Don't let it drop down to 200 or 100 where it's gonna blow out. But stuff like that, the tips I get from you guys, I mean, recommending Cricut and recommending different phones and recommending just all kinds of stuff, recommending tips on how to use software and how to use my hardware and get better audio. Like all that stuff, a lot of it comes from vlog comments. And that's a huge benefit. I mean, it's kind of self-serving in a way. I enjoy doing the vlogs, but getting feedback like that, one of the viewers, Dimitri, he told me, you know, some tips to improve the general quality of my videos. Some things I was doing that were a little distracting and things I could do better, and maybe some things I could incorporate when the budget allows it. So stuff like that's really helpful. Constructive criticism is something that I don't think a lot of people appreciate the value that's actually in that. People get really defensive when someone tells them, well, you should be doing this or that. There is, of course, a way to present it. There's the rude way of saying, oh, you suck. You know, your videos look like crap. That's not constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is someone saying, I like your videos, here's some things that maybe you could try to make them better. Here's some tips, actual advice, things to do, things to try to work on. That kind of stuff is invaluable. That kind of feedback, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they have focus groups for in companies to get that kind of feedback. So to get that for free, just by posting your content, to have an audience that's willing to share that with you and to give you advice and give you feedback is huge. And as a YouTuber, I think that's something that really, everybody should embrace, because there's a massive amount of value in hearing from the people that view your videos, hearing from the people that are regulars and subscribers and have been behind you for a long time, that are giving you advice. That means so much to me, and that's huge. So thank you for everybody that kind of gives me some feedback and gives me advice. It helps me make the channel better. And like I said in the last vlog, stuff I learned with this channel, things that I buy for this channel, investments I make in this channel, it doesn't just go to this channel. That actually bleeds over into my professional career and into my job. So it's really helpful to learn these things and to get this feedback, because it's things that clients necessarily aren't going to tell you, but a nice audience that knows you, feels like they know you, you have a back and forth, those people can really tell you things that really can help you personally and professionally. So just wanted to throw that out there, say thank you for that, and just, that's just another benefit of the vlog that I really enjoy. Now it's time to turn on some lights. So let's, I'm still kind of in the new phase with the LifeX bulbs, so I'm gonna, any chance I get to play with the turning them on thing, I always enjoy. I am getting tweets today, so in theory, when I get another tweet, that light over there should actually change color. And I'm imagining I'll probably get one. I don't know. I think today's usually a pretty tweet active day, any day I put up a video, but we'll see. The phone has never gotten anywhere near 15% battery, so I haven't been able to try that one out yet. I could just not plug it in overnight and see what happens, but yeah, so there you go. Just wanted to throw that out there. Constructive criticism. It's really worth its weight in gold. TUCat, what you doing? You weren't in the vlog very much last time, really. I'm gonna hear criticism about that, I'm sure. Yeah, now you're being nice and vocal, aren't you? You were asleep all day. You got up, you threw up, then you went to sleep. That's kind of your MO lately. Yep. I don't know what your deal is. All right, let's do it. Make the jump. There you go. Yes, TU kitty. TU kitty. Look at you. Look at you, Mr. Trouble. You didn't even properly introduce the TU vlog this time, man. Welcome to TU vlog 27. Say it, TUCat. You gotta be the vlog introduction. You know that's tradition. That's tradition, man. You're a little late, too. Vlog's been rolling. Where have you been? Get some water. My voice. I'm actually starting to lose my voice. I was on the phone for a couple of hours today, and then I recorded the video talking about MVNOs and Ting, and then just lots of stuff. Look at this in the background. Lots of stuff going on, lots of talking. So what am I doing? I'm continuing to talk because I'm in a talky mood. I'm pretty high energy today, and I don't really know why. And no, I'm not doing like cocaine or something. Don't get any ideas in your head. What I am doing is opening an Amazon package, and this one is also brought to you by Ron. Thank you again for that gift card. I know I keep mentioning you, but I use that for numerous things. And this was a pre-order, just like the CD was. I got my book, Phil Collins, and I already messed up the cover. This is why I go hardback, I'm rough on my books. Phil Collins, Not Dead Yet, the memoir. So apparently this book has quite a bit in it that he hasn't spoken about before. I'm a big Phil Collins fan, but I never really knew a whole lot about his life, so this will be an interesting read. The back says, "Hi, I'm Phil Collins," and as you can see from the front cover, I'm not dead yet. But when I do go, I'd prefer my epitaph not be "He came, he wrote studio, he left." That's why I wrote this book. That is a good point. Although I think people remember him more for In the Air Tonight than Sussudio. But yeah. Anyway, looking forward to that read. It does have a different cover in like pretty much the rest of the world, and I think it's a better cover, the UK version of it, and everywhere else. But for some reason in the US and possibly I think Australia got this cover, but everybody else got a different one. So I don't know. It's usually the case. So I got the international version, the English version of the Hunger Games back when those books were big before the movies came out. I got the trilogy, but it was the English version of it, like the UK version of it. And the covers were different, and they were cooler, in my opinion, than the ones for the US. But the only thing that was a little bit weird is some of the spellings were the English spellings, and they actually took the time to convert things into metrics when they were not, if I remember correctly, in the US version. So I was that was a little weird. I had one coworker that got really unreasonably upset with me about reading that version of it and not the US one. I don't know why. But yeah, so that's cool. Thanks, Ron, again. Really looking forward to cracking into this. It looks like it has pictures in it and stuff. It's got a little section in there with pictures of Phil Collins as a kid and all that good stuff. So, but it is one of those books it's a bigger book with big writing. And you can tell I'm already starting to age a tad because I much prefer that over the smaller softcover books that are maybe like that big with the more crammed together writing. I really am not a fan of the Kindle or any kind of ebook. Give me an actual physical book with paper that I can smell and I can hand off to somebody if they want to read it any day of the week over something that's on the Kindle. The Kindle's convenient for when I traveled. I will give it that. And the whole reason I got to this, the thing I like about the Kindle is you can adjust the font size and the spacing. Sometimes you get a book and it's just, everything's way too close together and I can't deal with that. So this book, thank you. Maybe it's because it's marketed more towards older people, but it's easier for me to read when the spacing is like that and the fonts are bigger. So anyway, yeah, productive day again. Like I said, got that done, had a phone call, did a bunch of different emails, another possible project lead, always good. So staying busy. The next thing I need to take a look at is the LifeX bulb. I've already gone over the other bulbs probably in more detail than you really cared to see. But the good thing is I do have some of that footage to use in this review. I need to actually go over like the unboxing and the setting up of the software because I do want to show how not well that kind of goes when you're doing it on the Android. I wish I had an iOS device that was actually up to date that I could use to show that as well, but I don't. So yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I think I'm actually going to sit down and catch up on some of the YouTube content that I've fallen behind on lately. I feel like I've got vlogs and stuff that I haven't watched from other people that I need to catch up and kind of get with the times. So I'm gonna do that and relax and probably play some Bravely Default tonight. I don't know, we'll see, but that's the plan. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, just checking in for the old vlog. And I had to introduce TUCat, who's back on his plant shelf again. Really getting worried about him. His energy level is like down here. TUCat. Well, all right, back from a very long walk. I forgot to turn on the Google tracking walking app thing, whatever, before I left. So I'm not entirely sure how long of a walk it was, but according to the app, it somehow tracked the steps. It just didn't track where I went. I guess you have to turn it on for the GPS to kick in, which makes sense. Destroy the battery otherwise. Got a sweat going, even though it was only like 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So I got some good exercise going. It said I had like 64 minutes of heart activity. So the Moto 360, once your heartbeat gets above, I think it's like 90 or 95. I don't know what the threshold is on the beats per minute, but it then considers your heart to be active or in active mode instead of resting mode. So it's good to, you're supposed to do that for 20 to 30 minutes minimum a day. And I'm making sure that I at least hit the heart activity goal. I don't necessarily hit the steps goal, but the heart activity goal I'm really working towards. So yeah, that's what's up. TUCat, I don't know, where, is he up there? I think he's up there. Anyway, yeah, and the LifeX app is really handy for when I do these clips. Oh, I did take a picture. It looks like somebody liked my photo on the Instagrams. Let me pull it up here. 3 people liked my photo, look at that. So, yeah, it was a nice, I don't know how long the camera's gonna take to focus on that, but There we go. Nice sunset tonight. But I will say, the thing that's nice about this LifeX app is now I can turn the light off behind me when I'm talking, so it's not washing me out. And then turn it back on when I'm ready to go back to normal lighting. What, TUCat? What? Why are you being so vocal today? You're being very loud. You're walking all around the house, just meow, meow, meow. Aren't you? Okay, let's go. You're gonna follow. Lead the way. Oh, you gotta keep stopping licking yourself? This is why you get kicked so much, because you walk right in front of me. I don't do it on purpose, you just get in my way. Been in the office so long today, I haven't even opened the windows. Sorry, dude. Kept you in the dark. Whoa! There's TUCat. There he is. What you doing? How's it going? What's the latest? Give me the news. Give me the skinny. Give me the update. What did I miss overnight? Was there any activity? Did you kill any bugs? I saw a couple beetles in here. Did you take care of those? Did you take care of those beetles? You don't look like you did. So it's trash day, so I guess I should go get the trash. I can also hear, I think the band is practicing. Maybe there's a football game tonight. The high school. It's TUCat's probably behind me in the frame. I don't know if you find her up. But anyway, yeah, so I guess I'll get some light in here for the last like half an hour that we have it. Doesn't look like it's too bad of a day outside though. So let's venture out. Let's go get some trash, Willie. What do you think? Silhouette of a man and his cat. Right? Oh, putting your paw on me. Are you trying to tell me I'm fat? Okay, so it's time to go out and get the trash. He's gonna panic, he's gonna think I'm leaving. I'm not leaving, I'm just going to get the trash. Don't freak out, don't freak out. All right, the only thing I don't like about this camera is when I go outside, I've got to remember to turn on the ND filter or it just can't handle it. The aperture is just, it's so good at low light that it's to its detriment sometimes. All right, we should be in outdoor friendly mode now. Let's see what happened to my trash overnight. All right, trash cans took a little bit of a hit. The band was just playing, I just heard them. The sun's really setting. So, look at this trash can. It's also about that time of year for me to take in the garden hose before it freezes. It's not supposed to freeze yet, but it's gonna happen soon. And look at the size of the air conditioning unit for my house. Look what happened here. Things got a little carried away. I don't know if I can knock that back into place. At least make it aesthetically look okay. Fake it till you make it. Close enough. Fix that in the spring. But it's just so big. By comparison, the house next door, that's their teeny little air conditioner. Look at the size of that monster. And then I've got this thing for this. Not as big of a house. So, yeah, kind of weird. Anyway, it's nice out. I can't hear the band anymore, though. They were just playing. I just heard them. Wonder if I've got TUCat in the window. See, there's that pinwheel. Still going strong. Look at that thing. It's going to town today. It's windy. No TUCat in the window, though. This tree, it's so big. I was hoping to hear the band, but I don't think it's going to happen. I might have to cut the grass one more time this year, I think. He must still be in the kitchen. Thought maybe I would have gotten an exciting package today, but no. Mr. Gnome is still keeping watch, though. The flowers look really good right here. Like, they look like they're still in great shape. But then you trail down, and near the end, they're not looking so hot. This one was in good shape just a couple of days ago. I could take the dead blooms off of it, but if I do, there's gonna be nothing left of the plant. So I think that's kind of the sign. Next week, I'm probably gonna have to pull these. They're starting to turn, which is a shame because from here on, they look great. But this part's exposed to the wind right here, and the wind overnight's been getting pretty cold, and I think it's just beating them down. So yeah, see if I got any exciting mail. Now, the thing about this camera is, I have to remember to turn the ND filter off. Willie was just getting back on his plant shelf too. Sorry. Just go to sleep, man. It's fine. I need to start reading my Phil Collins book. I was gonna do that when I wasn't feeling well, but I had a really bad headache, and reading when I have a headache isn't a good thing. And I think today I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finally put this band on the watch. The thing I hate about these kind of bands, you gotta get the links out of them to get it fitted initially, and that's always a bear. So I remember doing it with the Pebble watch, and I'm not looking forward to doing it with this one, but I'm running the digital theme right now, so when I actually fully pull it out, let me swipe that notification off. It looks pretty cool. It's got the little second hand that goes around, so still loving the Moto 360, still loving TUCat, and boom. What? Tell me. Tell me. Okay, so it's Friday and I'm indulging myself, but I'm trying to do it somewhat responsibly, so I'm making everything homemade. So I'm doing potato wedges and pizza, so not the healthiest meal, but let me try to justify myself. Here's potato wedges. Look at those bad boys. Seasoned potato wedges. Got Cajun seasoning and paprika, little garlic powder, onion powder, little salt and pepper. Delicious. So those are gonna go in 425, about 25 to 30 minutes, flip them halfway through. And then for the pizza, I am using a whole wheat pizza crust, and I'm just gonna make my own pizza, and I've got turkey, pepperoni, and a green bell pepper to go with it. So cutting some of the calories out of my kind of indulgence meal. I will say the other thing that I noticed today that was kind of odd, and I don't know why I didn't pick up on this sooner, Pandora is still Pandora 1 on the web client, but now on the mobile app it's Pandora Plus, and they've changed their logo and everything, so I'm wondering when the Wii brand, when the Wii brand's gonna make it over to the PC. Pizza time! Got 2% milk mozzarella cheese, turkey sausage, green peppers, whole wheat crust. I'm making myself about as healthy of a version of a pepperoni pizza as I could here, really. So yeah, it's about ready to go in the oven, and then it'll be pizza time. Ah, pizza's done, bubbly hot and delicious, and you can hear those potatoes just sizzle. Look at that. Those look good. Perfectly done. Nice, crisp little char on the bottom. Perfectly done, feel great. Those are gonna be awesome. So yeah, my little indulgence with as many healthy twists as I could really fit into it. So I gotta plate this up. I gotta wait for it to cool off first. All right, so I've got my plate of pizza and potato wedges. I'm probably gonna burn myself on this taste, but look at that nice crisp pizza. Have a first taste of this. So good. That crust is nice and thin and crisp. I've got one of my potato wedges here. Perfectly seasoned, nice and soft in the middle, crispy on the outside. It's Friday night, I'm gonna go enjoy this and watch some Netflix. Cat in the blue light, cat in the blue light. What you doing? What you doing? I'm just gaming. Why you giving me trouble? Why you giving me trouble? Yeah, I hear you. What? Uh-oh. You're gonna get closed in. You're getting closed in. So I just got done playing some Final Fantasy 13-2 for a little while on Steam. They actually have the colors gonna be all over the place, so I just pulled up Steam. The October sale going on right now, so I picked up Limbo. Actually had the demo for Limbo, which I never played. I think David DeFranco was talking about how great this game is, so then I got Limbo, because it was $1.99 on the Halloween sale. So I guess I can uninstall the demo. Can I just right-click and uninstall things? Delete local content, backup game files, delete local content. Does that do it? I guess. Yeah, okay, well, done. Anyway, lights back, cat's behind me. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of forgot what was going on in the game because it's been a while since I played it. Apparently it was like late August, early September. Yeah, so it's just those console ports. They're always... Got the yawns, guys. They're always so poorly optimized. But what are you gonna do? It's just one of those games that I beat Final Fantasy 13. I want to beat 13 too, so that way I can be ready for 15, because I think 14 was the online one? Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn. This is online, right? A massively multiplayer online role-playing game with Microsoft Windows, blah, blah, blah. So, apparently I downloaded this. Apparently it's on my gaming PC. It scored pretty high. It came out over 3 years ago. I don't know why I don't remember any of this. Like, how do I not remember this? Did I have this demo? Is that what I'm thinking about as the demo?
The level 50 cap now, regardless, faster pace than before, delivering immediate gratification. No matter what class you pick, higher level areas look particularly spectacular. Even the starting locations don't hold back, offering lavish attention to detail.
Okay, yeah, so quickly watching a YouTube video, now I do remember playing it, briefly. I think I got bored pretty quick. Let's tilt the camera a little bit there. Somebody has a smug look on his face. This guy, I tell ya. But anyway, yeah, I do remember playing that now, and I remember I got to a point where I got really bored and I stopped, which is what happens 9 times out of 10 with MMORPGs, and TUCat is trying to get in the farm. Aren't you, TUCat? What you doing, TUCat? You getting fur all over my shirt? Think you are. Think you are. Nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. But yeah, I'm lucky to get through a regular RPG. Tail in my face all the time. I'm lucky to get through a regular RPG without running out of steam. So the massively multiplayer ones, I can't do them. I tried it with World of Warcraft because I was in college. Actually, shoot, I might have been in high school when that very first came out. When did World of Warcraft hit? When did World of Warcraft hit the scene? I'd like to type TUCat, but I can't. Initial release date November 23rd, 2004. So I was in college. I would have actually been, whoa, controller turned off. Starting my junior year in November of 2004. So I would have actually been about halfway through college when that came out. But I remember playing it, and I remember I had a G5 Power Mac at the time. Back when Apple cared about such things. The Mac Pro didn't get an update in the recent refresh of things. So another year goes by with no Mac Pro update. So 2014, 2015, 2016, all come and gone. No Mac Pro update. So I think they've pretty much given up on that. It's only a matter of time before the iMac bites it too. They're just gonna go strictly mobile. The Mac Mini, I always forget about that. I think that's pretty much done for as well. Look at this guy, look at this guy. Look at this guy, he's getting taller. But yeah, I think the desktop Mac market's pretty much shut. I don't think they care anymore. But, you know, whatever, that's their thing. Desktop computers, they're not the hottest thing on earth. Laptops definitely seem to be the thing. But, I mean, when it comes to, like, a dedicated gaming rig, obviously that's, like, still a sweet spot for the desktop market. But, I mean, even for an editing machine, or, you know, just a general day-to-day workhorse, if you're doing it for, like, work stuff, like, TUCat, like, at my job, when I actually went to an office every day in my previous job, I had to have a docking station for the PC that they gave me to use. It was a Latitude. Couldn't stand using that thing in laptop mode. I had to have a docking station, so I at least had a big monitor and a keyboard and a mouse. I just couldn't use the computer all day as a laptop. And when I used to be on the road and I had to use it in laptop mode, I just wasn't used to it. My day-to-day workhorse, my daily driver, I really want it to be a desktop, excuse me, pizza, or a very powerful laptop with a docking station. something that I can easily dock and then use my full setup. So, I mean, my editing rig, that's my daily driver. I've got my Outlook on there, my Office applications, all the Adobe suite. I do all my editing on there. I've got the dual monitors, keyboard that I like, a mouse that works for me. It's just, I prefer that. And if I didn't have to do, I mean, I guess I could still do it this way. I mean, if I hadn't gone with a desktop build, I just like building computers. The other way I probably would have went with that computer, if it had to come with me, would have been like a ThinkPad T400P series with a dedicated GPU and like fully stacked, and then get a docking station and use that. That's about the only other way it really would have worked for me. For me, the optimal setup is having a really powerful desktop and then kind of a nice mid-range to high-end laptop that I can take with me. That works best for me, but everybody's different. But I think Apple's hoping that people are just gonna be cool using the MacBook Pro and doing their video editing and stuff on that, maybe hooking it up to an external monitor with the Thunderbolt 3 or the USB Type-C or whatever. But then you gotta get, I'm assuming there's gonna be a shit ton of third-party adapters for this. You know, the USB-C like dock, which is one nice thing about USB-C. There's gonna be a dock that at least you could use and plug that in, and you should be able to drive like a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor and all of your stuff off of that one plug, and maybe even power too, theoretically. But that would be handy. That would be the nice thing about having that particular, you know, plug, that port on the computer. Would be, it would make it more feasible to do that. But yeah, I just like the desktop laptop combo. That's why I've been able to get away with using a MacBook Air for so long. Because when I have to go somewhere where I need something with a full-size keyboard and just, you know, the full laptop experience, that's kind of worked for me. That's worked enough. Up until now. Now I need a little bit more power, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do. But I know I'm not gonna spend $2,800 on a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. It is tempting though. They're not bad looking machines. They really are not bad looking machines at all, but it's just too much money for something that, unless you buy a super pricey AppleCare plan, you just don't know is gonna last. And my experience with AppleCare in the past has not been good. They always, in my case, have tried to find a way to wiggle their way out of actually honoring the agreement. Having worked in, I'm not gonna say the company, but a retailer that dealt with electronics. One of the jobs I had when I was in high school was working there, and I can tell you that we would send stuff out to the service center, and I couldn't help but think that they did everything they possibly could to find a loophole to not repair that stuff, which was awful, being the person on the front lines dealing with the customer, because then we had to be the one to make the call to tell them that, yeah, you know, that $300 service plan you paid for, yeah, we're not going to honor that because we feel that X, Y, or Z happened and that voided it. That's kind of what happened with my iPhone. It just, it never fell in a puddle, never fell in the toilet, never had water on it, but it was in an area with the excessive humidity, which just describes Indiana in the summer. And because it was so humid, it tripped the moisture sensor in the phone. So even though it was under AppleCare, they said, it's too bad, so sad, we're not going to fix the phone. And that was pretty much the end of the iPhone for me, basically forever. So I used one for a long time when work provided it, but other than that, that was pretty much it. So that's why I don't trust Apple to back their products. Ever since then, I just haven't. And we had a little bit of an issue with the Mac Pro at work where they were trying to weasel their way out of fixing that as well. Whereas with Lenovo, they sent a keyboard from my ThinkPad, like old ThinkPad, when it was way out of warranty. And they still sent it for free. They were like, here's a keyboard, oh yeah, and here's a palm rest too. But no, we found they've been cracking for some people. So here's the palm rest. While you're replacing the keyboard, you may as well replace this too. We're gonna go ahead and give it to you just in case. For me, that was 2 thumbs up on customer service. Battery's about to croak on the camera, so I'm gonna have to cut it short. Look at TUCat though, before I go. Look at this guy. He is just chilling. Full blown chilling. Well, okay, that day flew by. It's Sunday, which I can't believe it's Sunday already. It's almost Halloween. Tomorrow's Halloween. I've been in this office all day long. I don't know how I ended up working all day on Sunday, but I did. I also got up late. My allergies have been terrible. They've been keeping me up at night, and it's just been rough. And I actually saw a thing on the Weather Channel, the .com, I don't have cable, but they were saying that the temperatures are so warm this year, it's like still 70-something degrees outside, and it's almost November, that the ragweed and pollen and stuff is like way, way worse than usual, and it's actually making allergies really insufferable for people that actually suffer from that. So that explains a lot, because it's been bad. I mean, it's been really bad this year for me. It's usually not like this. But anyway, so yeah, I got a lot done today. Last night, I, for whatever reason, just decided to do a graphics card swap between the editing system in here and the gaming system in the family room. I, decided that what I'm doing as far as Premiere work and stuff like that, everything that I'm doing in here, I don't really ever game on this machine, strangely enough. Whoops, hitting stuff on the screen. I don't game in here really ever. I just do work. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put the 1070 in the home theater PC. There's room in there, it's running a 4790K, so it's got the, the kind of chip to support that. So I put it in there, ran some numbers, actually wrote a bunch of stuff down. One thing I'll say is Rise of the Tomb Raider, I don't know if there was a patch or something, but the game seems a lot more optimized now than it was. I was having a really hard time maintaining a consistent frame rate in that game, even with the 970, and that didn't seem right, because I was only shooting for high settings, not even very high, and at 1080. And it was really struggling. And then I ran it again last night to run the benchmarks before I swapped the cards. And I was getting, what did I get here? On high preset, average was 59.94, so 60, because I do have VSync on for the 60 hertz refresh rate on the TV. Very high preset, 59.57. So all of a sudden everything was fine. The minimum dip that it had during the entire benchmark dropped it down to 35.57. And that was dropping way worse than that before. So kudos to whatever they did there, because that helped a lot. But anyway, the big thing was 3D Mark, the graphics score was 11,698 on the 970. And when I put in the 1070, it jumped to 18,323. The frame rate I was getting was 56, and it jumped to 87. And the physics score jumped up a little bit too. The combined test went from 4,400 to 7,000. And the frame rate went from 20.5 to 32.25. So yeah, 1070 made a big improvement. Tomb Raider, not really any improvement, 59.93. So, but I did notice that the lowest frame rate it was hitting was higher. And just overall really smooth. Unigine Valley, 116 on the 970, 143 on the 1070. So yeah, I feel good about it. Actually, the 970 was running at 72 Celsius after completing the Valley benchmark, and the 1070 is running at 66. So things are running cooler in the home theater PC with the 1070. So I don't know, I feel good about it. I think it was a good switch. I game on that system so much more than I do on this one, and the 970 is more than enough for what I'm doing in Premiere and that kind of stuff. So that was the big thing I did last night. I don't know why I didn't record doing it. It was just kind of spur of the moment swap. But yeah, getting the 1070 out of the AI crystal and the 970 in was very much almost a brute force feeling kind of experience, because of that weird mounting area for the graphics cards with that thing that slides and that whole thing. So that wasn't fantastic, but other than that, it was fine. The 1070 does fit in the Nano S, the Fractal, so that's good. It fits with still a little bit of room to spare, and that's a long card, so that case really does work out well for big graphics cards. That's a big benefit, and one of the reasons I'm glad I switched to that case over the one I was using. But given that it's like 5:30 and I haven't even eaten anything today because I just got in here and got wrapped into stuff, I'm gonna go eat and I'm gonna go game and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my Sunday, because I should have a pretty full week coming up next week. I've got a meeting Monday and Tuesday. I've got to be up super early to go to a meeting. So yeah, that sucks, but hopefully I can get some sleep tonight. Hopefully my allergies get under control. It's looked like it's gonna rain all day and it hasn't. That's basically been the kind of gloomy view outside all day. TUCat, I think, is hiding behind the light kit over there. Kind of, yeah. Hard to see him though. So yeah, I'm gonna go have a sandwich. I'm gonna go watch some Netflix. I'm gonna go do my thing, and yeah. But those numbers, pretty impressive. Actually, I feel good about that. I guess I didn't really notice how much of a difference it made. I'm sure I ran benchmarks on it when I got the card, but I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't register until I did it last night, and then I played Tomb Raider for a few hours, and it was just silky smooth, full graphic settings, everything turned up at very high settings. Just felt great. So go figure. Yeah, imagine that. 1070 is better than a 970. Just didn't expect it to be that much better. I don't know why I didn't register that since I reviewed the card, but real world, that's what matters. I'm surprised you haven't thrown up yet. I gave you wet cat food because it was cat day yesterday. International Cat Day. You look like you kind of might. You look uncertain. What's going on? Why you look so uncertain, TU Cat? What's the news? Yeah, I hear you. Let's check the weather. 61, it's a little cool to be opening the windows, TU Cat. I'm sorry. TU Cat's worked up. He gets this way late at night. It's 12:45, I'm up. I played Final Fantasy 13 2 for 3 or 4 hours probably. He's gonna maybe come into the frame. Yeah, there's his tail at least. Camera's always just out of reach of you. But anyway, yeah, got really into that. I do that with games. I start playing them, I get really into them for a while, then they kind of fade away. But try to make it kind of a gaming weekend, kind of a chill weekend. I did spend, Willie, quit putting your butt on me. Scoot. TU Cat. Yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, anyway, I worked a lot this afternoon, so I chilled tonight and just kind of had fun. I am actually preheating the oven right now. I'm making some potato wedges. I'm not really sure what I'm going to have with the potato wedges, but why do you go in circles? A little bit of red potato cut up into wedges. I showed them earlier in the vlog. Really simple recipe, just a bunch of spices in there, a little olive oil. It's a healthier alternative to French fries. I love my potatoes. So I'll probably have that, like maybe a spinach salad and a sandwich, I don't know. But I just felt like something warm, some tater wedges seemed like it would fit the bill. Will, you're doing it again. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And then actually catching up on some vlogs, watching David DeFranco's vlogs. Like, I hadn't watched them since apparently the end of September. So it's kind of confusing. I gotta go back and forth between the Patreon vlogs and then the YouTube ones to stay like in chronological order as they go along, because, you know, they kind of, if you just watch one or the other, then it's like one of them's the weekend, one of them's the week, so, you know, you got to get it right. So it's going, you know, from, you know, at my level, it's kind of hard to say because I'm like angling the camera and there's a lot of things behind me that can look different, but still haven't changed the band on the watch. I need to do that. I don't know why I've delayed doing that so much. I'm hoping some stuff should be coming in for review. I thought those LED fans were going to be coming in from NZXT. They keep telling me they're happening, and then nothing shows up, so I don't know. Uh-oh. I've got a tickle in my throat there. So I don't know if I'm ever getting those things, but it'd be nice if I did, because they would look pretty cool in the AI crystal case, which is probably not NZXT's ideal usage for those, considering that I think they were actually kind of designed for the S340 Elite. But yeah, whatever. And then there's like an X62 that came out, a liquid cooler. I thought I might be taking a look at that. I don't know, I haven't heard anything about that either. I do know I have another keyboard coming, but though that thing kind of, first player, you never know when you're getting your stuff from first player. It just kind of shows up with no real warning. But then when it does, they want the review like right away. And you know how I work. Stuff like a keyboard, I gotta use that a minimum of a week to kind of get a feel for how I really feel about it. So that's always, you know, within a couple of days, I usually get an email, what's going on with the review? It's like, look, I have to use your product before I review it. Same with the MVNOs. You know, I wanted to use Ting as long as I could. I actually had to cut that review short. I was trying to get a whole month in, but then the service was too unreliable and I couldn't make it a month. But Cricket's been fine. I haven't had any problems with it, but I still want to get a full month in just to make absolutely sure before I render any kind of a verdict on that. I haven't done a review on the Galaxy because I just feel like everybody's done a review on the Galaxy already. I mean, everything's kind of been said that is to be said. So all I can really say is I really like it. I enjoy it more than my iPhone. Maybe just because it's different, you know? Sometimes change is nice. There's nothing wrong with the iPhone. I didn't have any issues with performance or the way it worked or anything like that. I just, after years and years and years and years of the same basic interface, I just got kind of tired of the iPhone. So Android's a nice change. And I think that's really why I enjoy it so much. That and the camera on this thing. The camera is insane. I took out my flowers today, and it was like really low light when I got done. Yeah, you can see I took out the flowers. They're all gone, unfortunately. It's just, you know, it became, wow, TUCat's freaking out. It became time to get rid of them. It was, half of them were still kind of looking okay, and then the other half were like really not looking good, like completely shot. So, yeah, I decided to go for it. But yeah, another example of a low light shot. I was showing off a house. I've got like a string of homes on my street where their lights are out and they're on these auto like photo sensors. So you have to replace the bulbs, but you have to go outside to know your bulbs aren't working. You're not hitting a switch or anything. And there's a couple of homes. This one's gonna be hard to show without getting a reflection. Uh-oh, it's fading. Yeah, there you go. But that was no daylight whatsoever. That was like nighttime. Nighttime. It was dark. That's basically what I'm getting at. And it still took the picture. I was shocked about that. So, yeah, tickle me surprised how well this camera does in low light. So I think that's part of the excitement with it, just having a new camera. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot going on with technology right now. It's just, yeah. I don't know. I don't have any builds planned. Super happy with my X99 build. Super happy with my home theater PC build. Like I said, I swapped the graphics card in there, and it's a beast now. 4790K with a 1070 in there. 16 gigabytes of memory. It's really overkill for a home theater PC, but it makes for a great gaming experience. So I feel good about that. It works well. I need to finish playing The Last of Us. The reason I thought of it again is because now that the PS4 Pro is, you know, all the hubbub and everybody's talking about it, of course, they're talking about updating The Last of Us remastered into like the 4K upscale or whatever. So that game just they just keep going with that. But I think they said they're gonna try to get it at, it's not like true 4K, it's like 2K kind of upscaled with the way the PS4 does it, but it's like high dynamic range if you have an HDR TV, which apparently is really good looking if you have a TV that's HDR. So I wasn't really all that into the idea of a 4K TV, but I am into the idea of an HDR TV if it's really making things look that nice. But then that involves buying a TV, and then you'd have to get the new, I think they said they might add HDR actually to the PlayStation 4, so you wouldn't have to get a new PlayStation, but it'd probably be a 4K TV. So anyway, you'd have to buy a lot of stuff. But The Last of Us, that's on like its third iteration now, basically, if they make that update to it. I did pre-order Final Fantasy 15 because I'm that guy. It's one of those things, it's like Zelda games and Final Fantasy, I have to own them. There's quite a few Final Fantasy titles I haven't beaten. One of them, Final Fantasy, was it 11? There was 10 I beat, 10-2 I beat. Was 11 the multiplayer one, or 12? Whichever. I think 11 was massively multiplayer, and then 12 wasn't? Whichever one of those was the one that was single player. I didn't beat that one. And then I beat 13, I'm gonna beat 13-2. Probably play Lightning Returns, because apparently the port for that on PC is actually done really well. Unlike the port for 13.2, which is pretty crap. It looks good, but the performance, even on my 4790K with a 1070, it's only running at 1080, and the frames dropping that bad. I mean, I've got the optimization patch in there, and I've tweaked it for like maximum performance and the NVIDIA settings, like control panel, and it's still just not good. So Lightning Returns apparently is like nice and sweet and optimized, so that's good. And I've been playing a lot of Tomb Raider, but the Final Fantasy games, Zelda games, I'm a sucker for them. Even if I don't beat them, like I said, Twilight Princess, didn't beat that. I've still sealed behind me on that cabinet with the amiibo. But I buy them because I'm like that. And the new Zelda game comes out in December, so yeah. Anyway, but the collector's edition of Final Fantasy 15, had to have it. With Amazon Prime, it actually marked it down quite a bit. So that's the cool thing. If you have Amazon Prime, you actually get lower prices on a lot of games, especially console games. They actually have a nice discount on them. So I bit the bullet and went for that. So it should be here, I think November 30th is the release date, unless it gets pushed. But so I'm excited about that. And I went PS4 because apparently it is going to get an update for PS4 Pro. So if I ever end up with a PS4 Pro down the road, knowing how long it takes me to get to playing some of these games, I may have one before I actually start playing it. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you gotta go all out. It's day one collector's edition. And I feel like it's been a really long time since a Final Fantasy, like a legit Final Fantasy release has come out. They've been doing the thing where they like piggyback off of games. You know, they did it with 10, and then they did it with 13. There's like the series that goes along with it. So this is the first like reinvention, and it looks like they really made a pretty big departure in how the game actually works. It's more open world again. It's a little bit less linear, so I'm excited about that. The battle system looks like it's actually pretty decent. The battle system in 13 too, it's kind of, once you get your characters, like my characters are really leveled up, as I do in RPGs. I always level the hell out of my characters. And it's kind of just like auto battle, just keep spamming A and you're gonna probably win unless you're fighting a really hard boss. So the battle system seems a little bit more involved and like hands-on in 15. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I think that's about it. I think I've rambled enough at this point. Trying to keep the vlog shorter so I can like get my usual, trying to get back to my usual like Wednesday release again. That was like a good like midweek day to just kind of drop the vlog and wrap it up on like Tuesday and then get everything edited. So I guess they come out on Thursday when I do it that way, but in my mind they end on Wednesday. Because these things take hours and hours and hours to edit. But if I keep the vlogs down to like an hour or less, ooh, potato wedges are ready, then they won't take nearly as long to edit and compress and upload and process, all the things that go along with it. So wedges are ready to go in, so I'm gonna waste no time in getting those in the oven because it is 1 o'clock in the morning. I have not eaten in a long time since I checked in last time, which was like, what, 5:30? So I'm totally off on my schedule. I may fall asleep on the couch tonight, actually. Just watching vlogs and just doze off out here. Sometimes I like to do that. Got the space heater and it's on, I put that on a timer and it's nice and warm, just kind of doze off. And then I tend to get up earlier in the morning too, so I can get more stuff done. I like being up early on Monday, because Monday's the day I like to hit it hard. Got a couple of interesting prospects going this week, so I'm excited to get in and kind of see how those unfold. I don't know what TUCat's doing right now, but anyway, yes, time to put the wedges in. Wedge on, TUCat! TUCat, 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 TUCat. Look at these wedges. Look at these wedges, TUCat. Whoa, reflective wedges. Mm-hmm. Now the camera doesn't know what to do with the lighting situation right now because it's like this and then it's like blue over here. I've actually got my LifeX bulb set at 10 o'clock to dim to this like blue color. And it's kind of cool. I don't know, it's nice, it's relaxing, it's a good color for gaming. And I actually really like having the light behind the TV like I do. I don't know, something about it gives me less eye fatigue that way. It's kind of weird. So I am gonna get a different lamp. I want a lamp that's more up firing because look how much space I have up here to collect light and kind of disperse it. So this lamp's gotta go. Apparently for like $7 at Walmart, you can get a decent up firing lamp. And I think I'm gonna do that. Dude, calm yourself. It's okay. We're gonna get a lamp. We're gonna get a lamp. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, I'm stalling. Wedges. Wedges await. Look at that. Pizza bread. Haven't had pizza bread in a really long time, and I think it came out pretty good. I'll burn the crap out of myself if I take a bite out of it right now, but got a little bit of bread that was going kind of stale. Had pizza ingredients, so figured why not. Oh yeah, they're hissing. I think we got some done wedges. See if I can do this. Whoa. Hey camera. Let's see if I can do this without burning our shop. One-handed. One-handed wedge removal. All right, how are they looking? Oh yeah. These look pretty good to me. Look at my wedges! All right, I gotta let these cool off for a minute though before I handle them, or I will burn myself. And by that time, hopefully, the pizza bread has cooled off as well. And then the feast can begin, and I can get back to my very blue entertainment area. It's quite a life I live, isn't it? Wild. Oh, to you, Cat. Got the upshot going here. Got my couch setup going. As you can see, I got my pillows and my blankie. I'm all cozy, got my shorts on. Just gonna chill on the couch and chill with TU Cat. There he is, kind of weird angle here. And just kind of watch some vlogs and probably doze off. TU Cat and I just kind of chill up here. Nothing but trouble, that TU Cat, I tell you. Anyway, yeah, just chilling here, dim down the lights. I got my little remote control here. So what I usually do is just go into the LifeX app, and then I can kind of go in and just start killing off some of the light bulbs. I can get that one, and I can get that one. I just got the one behind the TV, and you know, then when I'm ready to go doze off, I can get that, and it's just the TV. So it's kind of nice. Seriously, dude. I think you're getting a little too worked up with that. You might need to take it down a few notches. Gee, I wonder why I have allergies. Cat, pillow, cat, pillow. All right, well, happy Monday morning, happy Halloween. It's super early. As a matter of fact, I'm watching the sunrise outside my window. It's time to get an early start. It's about 8 o'clock. It's just that time of year where it's gonna start being dark here in Indiana until, you know, like 8:30, 9 o'clock, because that's just what happens until we change our clocks. And then that kind of helps a little bit when we fall back, but still, it's very dark in the morning here because we're really far west to be in the Eastern time zone. We're about as far west as Eastern time goes. Of course, being morning, I've got the sniffles, dozed off watching David DeFranco's vlogs, one of his vlogs. TU Cat and I fell asleep on the couch, as I suspect many people do with my vlog, probably when they're super long. They just doze off. That's, that's the nature of things. But anyway, one thing I had to touch on in this vlog, that's why I'm staring at the screen, is Apple and their new laptops, because I mentioned them in the last vlog. So it seems only natural I should talk about it now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to start doing a screencast here of my screen, and then I'm just gonna scoot myself down into the corner, so you're gonna see me reading the screen a lot. But anyway, all right, so let's talk about the MacBook Pro, right? Because I have to. How could I not talk about it? Especially since I just brought this up in the last vlog. So, I will start off by saying a few things. Let's go to the page on this bad boy. I will say this is a very, very beautiful laptop. They've engineered these things incredibly well. I mean, look at this. That's a good looking laptop. There's no doubt about it. They definitely, as far as design is concerned, really nailed it. Super clean, looks nice, however that comes at a price. So I'll get into that. You got this little bar here. I think we're gonna see this thing pop up more and more on laptops in the future now, because it is a good idea. I will give them that. It is a good idea. It's kind of their workaround. That and the giant trackpad seems to be the consensus pretty much with everybody, is that's their workaround to not having a touch screen. So that, you know, that's just their jam. That's the way they do it. But I think we're gonna see this pop up on a lot more laptops. It's just the way things go. But since I mentioned hardware pricing in the last one, and the reason I brought it up is I kept seeing it because of that story about IBM saying that when they switched to Macs at their company, it was like $300 to $400 less per computer overall than it was when they were using PCs. And I made the argument there's a whole lot of things I didn't really point out there. But anywho, that keeps popping up. Oh, get a Mac, it's cheaper, it's cheaper, it's cheaper, it's cheaper. Maybe on the business end when you're in a huge purchasing deal and you're talking about managing a bunch of systems and all that, maybe. Maybe. Still don't know the details on that. However, if you are a consumer, prosumer, it's a different story. So let's go to buy here. A couple of issues I have with these computers. All right, so first off, I don't think the 13-inch should really be a pro computer anymore. Now keep in mind, let's big screen this for a second. This is coming from somebody that actually used all day, every day, a 15-inch Retina display MacBook Pro at my last job as a content creator, doing video, managing social media accounts, emails, lots of graphic design, that kind of stuff. So It was my primary driver. That was my daily machine. It was hooked up to 2 very large monitors. Every day I'd come in and just plug in the things I needed, and that was what I used day in, day out for a couple of years. And it was a fantastic system. It was also over $3,500 with Apple Care because it had like the 1 terabyte SSD, had the fastest Core i7. I think I maxed out the memory or did something crazy like 16 or 32 gigabytes. It was incredibly expensive. I mean, it was crazy how much that laptop cost, but it wasn't my money. So I was very happy with that machine. And I would trade this whole setup right now for that laptop. I loved it that much. I really liked that machine. It just wasn't realistic. I built this entire deal here, including an X99 build, for less than that. Considerably less than that, actually. So, okay, that out of the way. I'm very familiar with the MacBook Pro and its capabilities and what you can use it for. The 13-inch, I no longer think, let's get back here, I no longer feel that this really goes pro anymore. It's stuck on the dual core. Even if you configure this bad boy, I think you're still at a dual core on dual core i7. So you're using the ultra low voltage processor. I mean, it makes sense because it's so small. My issue here is, did you have to make it that small? You've got the MacBook. So I think you could have left the MacBook Pro just a teensy tiny bit, just a little bit thicker, and made an option for it that had a dedicated GPU at least, or at least more than 8. What's the memory go up to on this thing? That's my other question here. You need to have this go more than 16 gigabytes. In my opinion, there needs to be a 32 option if you're gonna call it a pro machine. Just saying. They're not bad laptops, okay? They're not bad. However, they are priced obscenely high. So they've got the old one in here, thrown down here just to say they start at $12.99 or whatever. So let's go up here to $14.99, this one. Space gray, no little fancy, what do they call this thing? The touch bar and touch ID, that's missing. You're missing 2 of the Thunderbolt 3 ports, so that's a bummer because you gotta use 1 to charge it, so if it's plugged in, you're down to 1. So yeah, just really kind of a bummer, this model right here. So let's pretend he doesn't exist. Let's go over here. So let's call these the pros. All right, so my issue with this, you got a dual core processor, it's an i5 or an i7. Yeah, you're pretty much stuck with that 8 gigs. Yeah, you can pay the premium to go up to 16. You got a 256 SSD. Again, these things can be configured, but the reason I'm not gonna play that game is, let's say you take this up to an i7 and you take the memory up to 16 gigabytes. Okay, is that it? We're still stuck at 256 on the SSD. And making those 2 changes just made that a $2,300 laptop. So, okay. Can you configure the highest end one with more storage? You must be able to, because it says 512. All right, so let's say you just want to go all out on this thing. And you want to take, there you go, 1 terabyte. $2,900 and you still don't have a dedicated GPU. Ouch. Okay, so that's why we're not going to play that game. All right, so basically you're saying $1,800 here. I don't feel this is a pro laptop. I think they're throwing pro in the name just to charge $1,800 for it. And I'll show you why in a minute, because I have some comparisons. I'm actually using the XPS line of laptops as the comparison. The reason for that being is, of all the laptops, I feel that the XPS, as far as build quality, reviews I've seen on it, and general user opinion, is about as close as you can get on the 13 and 15-inch side with a Windows laptop, as far as just kind of elegance, features, the whole package, you know, pound for pound. Yeah, Lenovo's out there and some of the other people, but they're not as sleek, they're not as sexy, and yeah, you gotta admit, these are damn good looking laptops. So I'm gonna compare the XPS 13 and 15, but we're not there yet. 15-inch. This one I will give the nod to say, okay, I'll give you the Pro. I'll let you call this one Pro. So the reason for that being is you do have a dedicated GPU. It's not a great dedicated GPU, but you do have one. And you are now rocking the quad-core i7 processors, so that's good. The thing is, you're running 6th gen, not 7th, so I can understand 6th gen on the 15-inch because we haven't really seen the Kaby Lake really hit on the 15-inch laptops yet. However, Dell is saying it's going to be very soon on their XPS 15. There's a refresh for that due any minute, pardon me, emails. You're probably going to hear a lot of them rolling in this time of morning. But okay, so I'll give them a pass on this. The 13-inch one, though, considering the battery life and integrated graphics are better on the 7th gen, they really should have gone with 7th gen on that one. But, you know, okay, so we're talking 15-inch. $2,400 starting price. Ouch. Okay. So let's say you want to take this thing up a little bit. You want to boost this up. Don't worry about the processor. Let's say, I'd say 512 SSD minimum. I am impressed they offer a 2 terabyte, but it's really ass expensive. And then $200 more for the better graphics card. So, you know, you're at like $2,800 to get this thing kind of where you really would want it. If I was going to order this, that's where I would want it, at that $2,800 configuration. So that's pretty expensive. That's painful. That's painful. Now, full screen. If someone was to give me one of these laptops, I would use it. I really would. Believe it or not, I actually own Final Cut Pro 10. I used it at work. I own it. It's my own copy, and I liked it. And for the kind of editing style I do, especially for the vlogs, I would actually kind of prefer to edit in Final Cut 10. But I am not willing to pay $2,800 for a laptop to do it. I'll just continue to use Premiere. I've gotten very used to Premiere now. I'm proficient in Premiere. I just preferred Final Cut 10 at the time, but I learned Premiere, so I'm okay with it. It's not a big deal. It just, you know, there's certain, Final Cut just has that, anybody who's used Final Cut 10 and gotten used to it knows what I'm talking about. It's got a certain feel to it that is kind of nice. But, okay, so really expensive. So now let's do the comparison. Let's get as close to this configuration as we can here on the 13-inch side, and I've picked this laptop. So this one's got a Core i5, 7200U. It is the 7th gen, so it's a little bit higher on that. Should get a little bit better battery, better integrated graphics. Windows 10, you know, whatever. 8 gigabytes, 1866 memory, and 256 gig PCIe SSD. And then, here's the thing. I went for the model with the 13.3-inch QHD Plus display that is a touch display to make up for not having that touch thing on the keyboard. So this is the touch version of this laptop, the 13-inch. And these both have the quality of having the memory solder on board. So, both of them have that limitation, the MacBook Pro and the XPS 13, right? So this one's $1,800 and this one is $1,400. So there's a $400 difference there. So between these two, yeah, it's pretty close. You know, $400, the delta of $400 is steep, but for a laptop that small, okay, I'll give it to you. Where things get weird is the 15-inch. Now this is thicker and it has more ports. So the 13 and 15-inch XPS both have Thunderbolt 3, so they got that going for them. And then they also have standard USB. They have the card reader, the SD card reader. They've got the HDMI port on them. There's just more options there. The traditional ports that you're used to. It's a little bit thicker, and the benefit that the XPS 15 has, at least right now, it hasn't been updated yet, is you can upgrade both the SSD and the memory in the 15-inch version. There are separate DIMM slots for both memory sticks in the XPS 15. So you do have flexibility with this laptop to upgrade it. So the way I have this configured is at $1,849, right? But that's with the 256 solid state. You could throw, as these go down in price, which they will, you eventually will be able to put a 1 terabyte in there when the price comes down because it's upgradable. And you'll be able to upgrade the memory if you're not happy with 16 gigabytes. And you'll notice it is just one 16 gigabyte stick. So you could put 32 gigs in here, no problem. Notice it's also DDR4. So there you go. You've also got the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960M, and there are rumors that there's going to be the Pascal 10 series mobile chip in the refreshed version of this laptop. And if that is true, that is huge. That is a big benefit to anybody that wants to game. But I'm looking at this from a professional content creator standpoint. So I'd be more comfortable at $1,850 using this with Premiere than I would be at the base MacBook 15-inch at $2,400 using Premiere. So now you're talking like a $550 difference between these two. I mean, $2,400 isn't getting you very far when you consider you can get basically the exact same thing with actually slightly better performance, more flexibility as far as upgrading goes, and that really nice Infinity Edge display. And oh yeah, by the way, it is a 4K touchscreen on here. You can actually get this cheaper as well if you don't get that touchscreen, but I, for the sake of argument, went with the touchscreen version. So 2,400, 1,850, yeah, that's a big difference in price. Plus, you'll notice up here right now, they're taking 10% off these laptops. So it's another $185. So that's a nice cut off of the price of that while that deal's still going on, but it's a temporary deal, so we won't say it's a permanent thing. So at the end of the day, I think the 15-inch version of the MacBook Pro can still be called the MacBook Pro in my opinion. I think there's enough going for it. It's got a quad core, it's got an i7, it can be configured pretty well. It's just really expensive. So you've got to ask yourself, how important is it to stay in the Apple ecosystem? Do you have a really old Apple laptop that you really just need to update? Do you absolutely need it to be portable? I'm not a fan of the iMac. I don't like systems that are integrated because the monitor goes and the computer kind of goes with it and vice versa. But do you really need it to be portable? Because now you are paying a premium because these things are so thin and so well engineered. It's just, you're paying for that touch bar, and that's a gimmicky thing in my opinion. I'm sure it's nice, but it's just really expensive, right? It's really expensive. But if you are super familiar with Final Cut Pro, you've got tons of projects that you've done in Final Cut Pro 10, and you really just like the Apple ecosystem, then go with the 15-inch. If you're gonna look, I would say go with the 15-inch. Pony up the cash and do it. But if you're a Premiere user and you can go either way, Windows or Mac, the XPS 15, especially when this thing gets updated, I'm probably gonna do a whole video on this when this happens, because I wanna see what Dell does with this 15, the XPS 15. I think that really could be a compelling laptop at under $2,000, depending on what they do with this. Because you can actually configure this thing down around like 12 or 1,300, and since it's so upgradable, you can kind of add stuff yourself for another 300 bucks. And for like $1,500 or $1,600, if you don't care about that 4K display, get a really nice laptop. So, I don't know. I would lean more towards the XPS 15. I will say, if the MacBook Pro was within $200 of the XPS 15, I might recommend the MacBook Pro just because of how it looks. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with the MacBook Pros, it's going to be dongle USA. You're going to have to get dongles. They're probably going to be third party because the Apple ones are expensive. You're going to just have to accept that. However, the nice thing is you can get those dongles where you can plug a ton of shit into one dongle because that Thunderbolt 3 can do that. That's nice because I was plugging in a lot of crap every morning into the MacBook Pro I was using at my last office job, and it sucked. When I had to take the thing, it was like click, 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 removing a bunch of stuff. Having just one thing to plug in, I'll give them that. That would be kind of handy, but you're going to have a dongle for everything. Even your iPhone's going to need a dongle. You can walk out of an Apple store with an iPhone and a brand new MacBook Pro, and if you didn't get the dongle, you're not going to be able to hook them up to each other. So that's like kind of a bummer, right? So, yeah, I'm not coming down as hard on them as I think a lot of people probably thought I would, because I just think they're mislabeled. I don't think the 13-inch should be called a Pro. Just make that the MacBook. Come up with a new name for what you're calling the MacBook now, because it's clearly the replacement for the MacBook Air at this point. And then leave your 15-inch as your Pro machine. Because that one I feel at least I can say, okay, yeah, there's some stuff in there to make that Pro, right? But 13-inch, not so much. And the pricing, ooh, the pricing, that's just so painful. But the displays, from what I've heard, are absolutely stunning on the Apple laptops. And they are very nice looking machines. So I will say that much. I guess I could stop the recording now. I've had that running. So yeah, that's my opinion on the new MacBooks. I don't hate them. I think they're very nice looking machines. I just think they're incredibly overpriced for the hardware that you get, but I understand why people, if they're really tied into the Final Cut Pro 10, ecosystem. They have a lot of projects. That's how they like their workflow. That's just your thing. I get it. I'm not going to say that you're dumb for buying one. That's just what you've been using. I just think Apple kind of screwed you. I mean, they really just hit you hard with the price that they're charging for these things. And if you're a professional and you don't need like super ultra portability, get the 15-inch one if you can afford it, because it's still thin and light, but it's just far more capable, in my opinion. So that's my thing. And if you're into Windows and you want something kind of similar, I think the XPS 13 and 15 right now are pretty solid. So how's that for a professional segment in the vlog early in the morning? I haven't even had my coffee yet. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I am gonna do, I'm waiting until another month or two goes by just to kind of see where the Windows world settles before I kind of do an actual like separate video for this. It'll be very similar in thought probably, but I just kind of want to get my initial thoughts out. I also I want to give people some time with these things. The keyboard I'm not huge on either, that's my other thing, but the Dell keyboard I don't think is a whole lot better. These really thin laptops, the keyboards, it's just hard. It's hard to make the keyboard a good experience. I think Lenovo is like the only one that's really kind of figured it out on the really thin laptops, like their X1 Carbon. But yeah, so give these things a little more time to mature, give another month or two for Dell and some of the other manufacturers like Razer to get their stuff figured out, and really take a head-to-head look at these things. But I mean, just initially I'm looking at this going, wow, that's really expensive for the hardware that's in there, but you are paying that Apple tax for just how nice they look and supposedly the customer service experience you get. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had great customer service with Apple over the years. They've always been friendly, but very rarely did they ever actually repair anything under warranty for me. So yeah, I've got stuff to do. It's now 8:05, so it's time to get to work and close that, do my thing. The sun is actually officially coming up now. It's a truck with a grill on it just parked across the street from me for some reason. Not really sure why. But yeah, time to get working, get rolling, get the Outlook up, start clearing out that thing, and get the week started. Monday. So yeah, I got some stuff to do later today. I'll be up early again tomorrow. Got another meeting. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Is the truck leaving? As the day goes on, let's check out the sunrise. The battery is about to go, but there's the mystery truck. Kind of hard to see. Not really wanting to focus. But I gotta charge the camera. Sunrise! All right, so there it is. Morning. It is 8:45, and the sun is just now starting to come up. Here is that truck I was talking about. I don't know what that's all about. Rusted out with an old grill in it, and just very unsightly. You can see I had to take the flowers out. Had to take all the flowers. They're all gone. And I took them out over here as well. The tree's getting really overgrown. But yeah, it's starting to look like winter at this point. Definitely starting to look like winter. The flowers actually held on a lot longer than I thought they were going to be honest with you. I did not think they would stick around until basically November. Today's Halloween, and I just pulled them out yesterday. So they had a pretty long run, not gonna lie. Can't complain, can't complain. So yeah. Also for Halloween morning, I think I have something on my lens. Oh, there we go. For Halloween morning, it's actually pretty nice outside. Not bad. A little overcast, but other than the overcast skies, pretty decent. TUCat in the window? Yep, there he is. He's upset. He's not used to being able to be in that window either. He wants to get to me. He's kind of freaking out. Now he had to stop cleaning himself. Alright, watch this. When I come inside, he's gonna be pumped. Want to know once again? There we are. Trying to get out, weren't you? I'm smarter than you, though. I'm smarter than you. Standing in the window watching me, wondering what I'm doing. But yeah, the view's kind of boring out the window now. No more flowers. Right? He's going, what are you doing outside so early? What are you doing outside? All right, so there was a little bit of upset that I didn't do a food haul in the last TU vlog, so I figured I'd rectify that. This one's a little bit of a mixed bag. Some healthy, some not so healthy. So without further ado, food haul! And normally TU Cat would be here, but he's not. So anyways, you can see lots of fruits and vegetables in this quadrant. A couple of cucumbers. Strangely enough, the organic bananas were actually less expensive than the regular ones, which is kind of an anomaly. I think it was a sale thing. Couple of lemons, some kale. I did get some baby spinach as well, and some red potatoes, and then some apples. I just keep this stuff around. I like to do at least like one green juice a day or every other day. It's just super simple, and I just usually do that in the morning in place of coffee. Then I have coffee later. It's just a nice habit. Then I usually have a banana too. It helps me get off to a healthy feeling start during the day. I also had to get some new strainers. The other ones were just getting gross. So yeah, got strainers. Now here's the not so healthy part of the equation. Entenmann's Donuts, half off. Haven't had these things in a really long time. I mean, look at that. Look at that donut. That looks so good. Meats, got some hard salami. So yeah, not the healthiest lunch meat choice. And had to get some provolone cheese to go with the salami, of course, because, you know, provolone salami, match made in heaven. And then bread that was on sale. Just got some seeded Italian bread. What is this? Aunt Millie's. So yeah, not the most exciting food haul in the world, except for the Entenmann's Donuts. Pretty pumped about those. But we got a lot of color over here, so that's good. So yeah, food haul has made an official appearance. I like to save these bags. You never know when you're gonna need to use one for just like a small trash bag or something. So I keep a collection in the pantry of the small bags. I took a little bit of a nap today. Not too long though, just, you know, a little rest up, feeling refreshed. Gotta get up again early tomorrow, so it's like early starts this week, but no big deal. Played a lot of Tomb Raider. It got to the point where it said like this is your last chance to save or do anything else before you like go into the end of the game. So I stopped playing there. I think I'm almost done with Rise of the Tomb Raider. There's a lot of tombs and stuff that I didn't get to, but yeah, I just kind of want to get through the game. Fun game, really enjoy those games. I just feel like I plowed through them pretty quickly. So maybe I'll go through and play some more. I don't know. I'm moving forward pretty quick. Played a lot of Final Fantasy 13 too as well over the weekend. So yeah, but got a lot done today, and just decided it was time for a food haul. Needed some potatoes, needed some fruits and veggies. So that may be the most healthy food haul I think you've ever seen. I usually don't show it when I buy boring stuff, but you know, the audience has spoken. They want to see the food haul, so you got the food haul. TU Cat, he is meowing. Another early morning, early start to the day, but going well. Got the meeting done, got my coffee. It's really dark in the house. I need to open some windows. I also need to clean this entryway still. But anyway, heading into the office, getting the workday started. Trying not to spill my coffee best I can. Let's get some light in here. Right, TU Cat? Ah, much better. Okay, there we go. And it's so nice out. I think I can even crack the window. It's gonna be 80 degrees today, November 1st. 80 degrees. I feel like I'm crooked again. Am I straight? I think I'm straight. Okay. So yeah, good meeting, coffee, everything's good to go, and I put the new band, I don't know if it's gonna focus on it or not, give it a minute. Put the new band on the Moto 360, and yeah, looks good, fits good. Gives it more of that stylish, finished look, you know what I mean? So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the rubber band, but this just goes better, I think, with, you know, a collared shirt, that kind of thing. So, what's going on, Windows 10? You took away the fall themes. They had a nice, like, Halloween fall theme going. I guess Halloween's over, so that makes sense that that would be done. I'm actually caught up on emails. I was waiting for my meeting to get rolling and caught up on emails. So that's the beauty of cell phones. Being able to actually get stuff done while you're sitting idle. So many notifications. Somebody's birthday today that I don't know. Okay, Windows. I get it. Now, the coffee. I'm gonna burn myself. I do this every time. No. It was okay. It was successful this time. So I swear, I get the coffee, you know, like at the gas station, and I'm like, okay, it's been 15, 20 minutes since I bought this. You know, I had to get home and whatnot. And it's still piping hot, but it seems tolerable today. So what is on the agenda? I don't know. I need to get my get myself organized. Usually I sit down and kind of get everything collected in the morning, get my to-do list going, but I haven't done that yet today. So I'm just dealing with TUCat. Why are you not in the window? I don't understand why he's not. These are your last chances, man. It's gonna get cold. Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think I mentioned I'm almost done with that. And Final Fantasy 13.3, I don't know. I want to say I'm like maybe halfway. Maybe halfway? It's hard to tell in that game. It's one of those Final Fantasies where it's a linear storyline, kind of, but it's really easy to get lost and not know what the hell you're supposed to do next. There's been numerous times I've had to Google what I'm supposed to do in that game to get to the next step, because it's like time traveling. You never know where you're supposed to be when half the time, especially if you take a break from playing it and then you start playing it again. Forget about it. You're gonna be lost. So yeah. I still have so many games to play. I got the Halloween thing. I forget what game it was now, but it was the one David DeFranco recommended playing like really heavily. And it was $1.99. So I picked that up. And I've got, gosh, on the console side, The Last of Us, I still need to beat that. I still need to play the Zelda game. I still need to play the Yoshi game. I haven't beat Mario 3D, whatever, on Wii U. I've got to finish my Wii U games. I mean, come on. The Wii U's, it's like, it's old news now. The Switch is in, and I've still got unbeaten Wii U games. And the Zelda game, when does that come out? And it's a Wii U release. And I want to say it's like end of December, which is like kind of strange that would be when it would come out. December 30th. That's so weird that it would be after Christmas by such a short period of time. You really would have thought they would have shot for a little closer than that. But I'm not a pre-order kind of guy, but again, on Amazon, it's normally $59.96, but then if you pre-order it, it's $47.99. So I'm kind of like, well, you know, I don't know. Plus you get the pre-order price guarantee, and that's actually, they honor that. I've gotten money back numerous times from that pre-order price guarantee thing. The other thing I'm wondering about is Amazon. No, it was the Google Play Store. The Google Store? Google Store. They've got that Google Wi-Fi thing, and it's like, I feel like they haven't really announced what's going on with that. Like Google Home, like that's the thing, and I think I pre-ordered that, but I don't know. When does this thing ship? Like, it doesn't say. This is the problem I'm having with the Google situation here. I feel like it's just not, they're not being very clear about when this stuff is available. And the thing I really want to know is this Google Wi-Fi is supposed to be like super good or something. Yeah, Google Wi-Fi, learn more. How about I not learn more? How about you release the damn thing? You know, how long has it been since they announced this now? I mean, seriously. Home automation, pretty cool. Kind of getting into it. It's pretty fun. It's not necessary at all. The LightFix bulbs, they're a little flaky. I'm having some issues with the Android app, like kind of just getting non-responsive with those, so I don't know if that's an Android thing or if that's a just LightFix bulb thing, because I'm not using iOS anymore. So maybe on iOS it would be a little bit better. But yeah, I am surprised from my last vlog that nobody has gotten upset with me about my little Apple rant. And of course I went on one again this time. Wasn't really so much a rant though this time, as it was just a kind of disappointment. Like I was really hoping for better. I honestly was. I was hoping the MacBook Pro update would like make it more competitive as far as price goes and more intriguing, and it just didn't. It just went, I was hoping it would be over here, and it went over here. Like, and even Austin Evans, who is usually like super pro Apple, was taking a look at the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and you could tell he was struggling to be okay with it. I don't think he really was okay with it by the end of the review. It was just one of those things where even the die-hard Apple people, I think, are having a hard time swallowing that pill. I had a mission that I was on. Now I don't remember what that mission was. Oh, you know, I haven't even looked at the iMac. Like, what does an iMac cost these days? I don't know. I see a shit ton of people using them, so they must be somewhat affordable. Yeah, the iMac's like way more affordable. You can get 21.5-inch iMac with a Retina 4K display, 3.1 gigahertz processor, 1 terabyte of storage. Let's see here. That's with Iris Pro 6200. If these are using the 6000 and 6200 series cards, isn't that a few generations behind? Intel Iris Pro 6200. You guys are just along for the ride while I'm digging into this. I don't know why I care so much all of a sudden, but I do. So what generation? Intel 5th generation. That's what I thought. I thought by the 6th generation they were going to 3-digit numbers on their graphics. So the processor's kind of old. It's only an i5. 8 gigabytes of memory, configurable to 16. It's got the 4K display. $14.99. All right, now you're talking 27-inch 5K. So if I'm going iMac, this is how I'm going, right? Even the stacked version of that thing, like the highest end one that they sell stock, that's a 5.5. It comes with the Radeon R9 M395, Retina 5K display, 2 terabyte Fusion drive, so I'm assuming that's the one that does like part SSD, part regular hard drive. 8 gigabytes of memory, turbo's up to 3.9, $22.99. So you're getting a 27-inch monitor, which is this, at 5K with like decent specs. I think that's the same as this one. I wish they would say what generation graphics they were using. For $22.99. So not cheap, but feels like a lot more computer. You know what I mean, than the MacBook Pro. So let's say you wanted an i7 in this thing, right? Because you really got to kind of configure this balls to the wall if you're going to do it. How much memory? Not going to want to be cracking this thing open. So look at that. 32 gigabytes is $600. Are you shitting me? Pardon my French, but there's DDR4 in this system to my right. 32 gigabytes of it, mind you. And I did not pay anywhere near $600 for that. And $600 is just the upgrade price. That's DDR4. That's 4 sticks of DDR4 memory. That's insane. I mean, this system is 32 gigs. It's an i7 6850K, running it at stock at 3.6. And it just flies. I mean, it flies. The system's an absolute beast. And I paid nowhere. Let's configure. Okay, I'm not even gonna put 32 gigs in this configuration because it's just not even fair. 512 gigabyte flash drive. Okay, let's be fair. There's a 256 M2 in here, so I'm gonna configure with 256. Granted, there is also a how big is the SSD that I'm storing all my files on? Yeah, 500 gig SSD has all my software as far as games and Adobe and that stuff. Actually, I think Adobe's on the M2 SSD. Everything, all my games are on the 500 gigabyte SSD. Magic Mouse, worst mouse ever. My last job I was at, all of the graphics design people loved the Magic Mouse. I hated that thing. It's so hard to use. $2,750 for this iMac. Granted, beautiful screen. I'll give it that. And you gotta factor that into the price. That's a 5K 27-inch monitor. So let's say without the monitor, you're looking at like an $1,800 computer. I guess that's not terrible. So the iMac, I can give the iMac a pass. I really can, because when you factor in the display, okay. It is the quad-core i7. This system was more than $1,800. This system was significantly more when you factor in all the SSDs and you factor in that graphics card and everything else, but I feel like it's a more capable system. It's just a far inferior monitor to what you get with the iMac. But the iMac I can give the pass. I can say, you're close in specs, you're close, I'll let that ride, but woo, that MacBook Pro. All right, well, definitely a little bit late on getting the breakfast. It's 11:30, but got wrapped up in the office again, and I was gonna stop and get something on the way home, and I was like, nah, just make something at home. You got the stuff. So I made eggs, bacon, and way more hash browns than I actually needed. So eggs with cheese, bacon, and hash browns. Time to dig in. Sometimes I wonder why I let myself get wrapped into the things that I do, but I can't walk away from a debate when it comes to computer stuff. I can't. I just get wrapped into it. So, like I said, on Facebook, it's kind of become a running thing back and forth with me and another guy, Doug. We're going back and forth about Mac and PC and video editing and that kind of stuff, because he's into video editing and he's like a hardcore Mac user with Final Cut, and you know, I'm always, you know, preaching the PC side with Premiere, and he's like, well, you just don't like Final Cut 10 because you've never used it. I have used it. Like I said, I own it. So we kind of went back and forth, and of course I said, well, I have used it, I own it. And he said, well, if you own it, why aren't you using it? And I said, because the only Mac that I have is a 2013 MacBook Air, and it only has 4 gigabytes of RAM, so I don't think it'll run it. And he said it will run it. Now, Adobe Premiere won't run unless you have 8 gigabytes of RAM. It won't even let you install it, at least on the Mac, because I tried. Excuse me. But, so he challenged me to do my next video using my Mac, because he said the 2013 MacBook Air will be able to handle editing in Final Cut 10, because it's just that good. I don't think it can, but being one not to back away from a challenge, I'm going to attempt it. But I'm sure as hell not going to try to do it on a 13-inch screen for the MacBook Air. So I ordered like a $6 mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort cable in order to go out to the 27-inch screen here. And I'm going to attempt to edit the vlog using a 2013 MacBook Air with a Core i5 and 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm gonna have to use an external hard drive because it's only got 128 gig SSD, and the files for the vlog are typically around, the working files alone are around like 40 gigabytes. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use like a scratch disk to do it. But I'm gonna have to polish up on Final Cut 10. I haven't used it in years, and I'm sure a lot has changed. So it's been downloaded and it's installed on the MacBook Air, and the challenge is on. So the cable should be here Thursday. Today is Tuesday, so I will edit the vlog probably on Thursday, and I have no idea what to expect. I don't think it can do it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do the workflow. I think it's gonna bog the system down, but he linked me to a video. It's a pretty popular video. Let me try to find it. Yeah, it was Hardware Canucks was trying to replicate the video that I think Jonathan Morrison did. Anyway, so yeah, he claims that it can be done. So we'll see. I may be very frustrated by the end of editing this TUVlog, but hey, you know what? I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always up for trying something different. So let's see if the old MacBook Air that I usually only use for email and web browsing while I'm, you know, lying in bed can pull this off. So, all right, got a little bit of a nap in there. Not too long. Feeling refreshed. Feeling good. Had a phone call. Talked with my mom for a little while. Always nice. And got two things in. One of them I'm not going to show yet because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But it's the keyboard from First Player. The second thing that I got was actually sent as a thank you for doing some website work. So sometimes you do stuff just kind of pro bono, and you get a little bonus out of it. So the Echo Dot. I'm excited about this. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to try this or try maybe the Google Home or whatever it's called. I guess I can set this down. There we go. Make some adjustments. But yeah, so I was kind of on the fence which one, but you know, Google hasn't been really good about getting back to me about review stuff, and this is, you know, it's kind of old news, the Echo, right? The Echo Dot, second generation, still fairly new. But anyway, not the most expensive thing on earth. I think these things are 50 bucks. I think they're like 50 bucks. So anyway, thank you for that. You know who you are. So here is the Echo Dots box. Nothing too crazy. I'll actually do a full review on this. So I do need to find my cutting tool so I don't tear this box up while I'm getting everything out, because I want to use this for a while, then do the review, but I want to show the packaging when I do that, so I can't just, you know. All right. So that just folds up, and then everything slides out of here. So let me get that in focus. All right, so Sony camera is being kind of a butthead about focusing on this. So anyway, new camera angle. So yeah, it just slides out and everything's kind of in there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get this cord wrapped up that nice again, but so that's everything just kind of compact in there. So I'm gonna actually slide this out. And that looks like the white one is what I got here. So very nice, very nice. Got a nice rubber bottom on it. Got the, it doesn't have the turn dial that I think the previous version did, but it's got the volume up, volume down, microphone button, that kind of thing. Apparently if you have more than one of these, they're smart now and they know not to fire all together. So whichever one you're nearest is the one that's gonna actually respond, which is smart because I think a lot of people were having issues with that. So here is the cable, uses just the micro USB as usual for charging and whatnot, and pop this up, and there you go. There is the wall charger itself, and then there's the instruction manual and all that stuff, but like I said, I'm gonna try to keep all this contained. Oh, I'm already messing up the manual. Okay. Set that off to the side. Go ahead and peel the plastic off. Looks like you can grab. I don't know if there's, oh, here we go. Okay. So I guess the question now is, how does this thing perform? How does it sound? Is it gonna work with my LIFX bulbs? Shall see. Okay, so step number one is gonna go into the Play Store, and I gotta find the Alexa app. I already got an email that as soon as this thing, like literally, as soon as it arrived, I had an email from Amazon saying to do this, so click install. Okay, so that was easy and quick. I might also add, the windows are open. It's November 1st. It is 7:14 in the evening, and the windows are open. Not only that, but look at the temperature, 75 degrees. So I think it's running through its setup. My guess is I have to do something. Ooh, it's making noises.
Hello. Your Amazon Echo Dot is ready for setup. Just follow the instructions in your Alexa app.
Okay. Well, in theory, the Alexa app should be the first thing in my list alphabetically, and it is. So I'm going to open that. Yep, there you go. Okay, continue. All right, I'm gonna step through this. This seems like it's gonna be boring. All right, so once you go into that, then you get all of these different things that you can kind of set up and do. I do have a Fire TV, but it's not currently hooked up, although I may hook it up again because my Roku 3 has been really just not working well. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. Let's see, set up a new device. I have an Echo Dot. English, yes. All right, so it's connected to the Echo directly now through Wi-Fi. I've given it my Wi-Fi information. So it says that it's preparing the Echo Dot. And that's pretty much all there is to do at the moment, is just wait. Echo Dot is now connected to Wi-Fi, so good, that was successful. Kind of see it looming in the background there. Setup is complete, so continue. And then apparently I have to watch a short video to help give me some basics on getting started.
Let's take a quick tour of your new Amazon Echo Dot.
Okay.
Now it's easy to add Alexa to any room in your home.
Okay, so it says that now I can give this thing a try. By the way, I don't think you can skip that video, and it was kind of long, but it wants me to ask what's the weather. So now this creepy thing's just kind of here listening to me. I'm gonna get kind of far away from it before I issue my command. By the way, this is the kind of thing, wow, white balance, Sony. This is the kind of thing that my parents would never allow in their house because, I don't know, this thing could be creeping on me all day long. I can kind of respect that, why they wouldn't want this thing. But yeah, okay, well, let's try it out. I'm not dissing on something until I give it a chance, but. All right, so privacy concerns aside, let's give this a go. Alexa, what's the weather?
Currently, in Brownsburg, it's 74 degrees with clear skies. Tonight, you can look for just a few clouds in the sky with a low of 59 degrees.
Okay. Alexa, what is the weather tomorrow?
Tomorrow in Brownsburg, you'll see intermittent clouds and can expect a high of 77 and a low of 56.
Okay, so that works pretty well. Okay, I can hit next, say, okay. Let's see here. Alexa, play 90s pop.
Here's a station for 90s pop music. 90s pop.
Don't judge. Wow. This song was on when I was in my car in driver's ed, by the way, all the time in 1999. So I'm gonna get hit with copyright if I don't keep talking over this, but Alexa, volume up. Okay, so you can do volume up that way, or you can also go in and you can hit the volume button. So this thing does get fairly loud. Alexa, stop. Okay, it's pretty responsive, I will say. Let's try it again. Alexa, play classical music.
Here's a station for classical music. Classical focus.
Very soft. Alexa, stop. I mean, I'll say it's very responsive. Okay, so the big question here is, will it control my LifeX bulbs? So I'm assuming, now I don't want a free trial of Amazon Music. Go home. Now I'm assuming that I can, oh look at that, it knows, that's kind of creepy. It knows the last things that I told it to search for. So it knows that I looked for the weather. It's a little off on the town, but it's close enough. It's interesting it picked the town that it did because it's actually further away than another town I would have thought it would have confused it with. But anyway, yeah, so I guess now I can go and try to set up my bulbs. So I am going to go to Smart Home for that. And I'm assuming that I need to create a group, and this is going to take me a minute to figure out. But I'm guessing that I have to go down here maybe to this. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so everything's set up. I did some stuff in the If Then This app and kind of tweaked the LifeX lights a little bit, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. But here's some stuff that you can do with those bulbs just straight through the app itself. So I can say, Alexa, turn off family room lights.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on family room lights.
Okay.
Alexa, set family room lights to 50%.
Okay.
So it has no problem with those kind of things. You know, that's easy for it. But changing colors requires a little bit more. So I can say, Alexa, trigger family room lights cyan.
Sending that to IFT.
So now it's going to run that IFT command, and it's on a 10-second fade to actually go into that color profile. And what's interesting is with that fade time, that actually applies even if the lights are off. So I can say, Alexa, turn off family room lights. Dude, TUCat, why are you all up in this? Okay, now I can say, Alexa, trigger family room lights normal.
Sending that to IFT.
And then it's going to turn on the lights, and it's going to do it in a slow 10-second fade, which is pretty neat. So pretty cool, and there's so much stuff you can do with the IFT app that it's kind of mind-boggling. And I've already linked my Pandora, so I can say, Alexa, play Pandora Thumbprint Radio.
Getting your thumbprint radio station from Pandora.
And it just starts playing. So pretty neat, pretty neat. I have to say I'm actually impressed with this thing. A little creeped out by it, but impressed. Now I'm not sure if I can actually link it with the Ecobee thermostat. I'm guessing not, because this thing kind of is a self-contained deal, but it does exist on the Wi-Fi network, so maybe, I don't know. We will see. Alexa, stop. So all in all, pretty cool, pretty impressed with just how well it works. Alexa, set timer for 30 seconds.
30 seconds, starting now.
All right, so now we've got the timer running. TUCat, what is your deal? Why? Why? Why so much? Why so much? Why so crazy? Why you gotta be so crazy? But yeah, we're only scratching the surface of what you can actually do with this thing. So I'm assuming once Google's version of this comes out, it's gonna be even more crazy, because you can link this to a lot of different Google stuff. And that's kind of how it's able to do kind of what it does. TUCat, what? So there's your 30-second timer. Alexa, tell me a joke.
What did the baby corn say to the daddy corn? Hey, Pop, why so salty?
Alexa, add cat litter to my shopping list.
I've added cat litter to your shopping list.
Did you hear that, TUCat? That's been added. I have no idea where that goes. Actually on my device when I add something to the shopping list. Alexa, who is the President of the United States?
The U.S. President is Barack Obama.
All right, let's get a little more detailed. Alexa, who are Indiana's senators?
Indiana's senators are Joe Donnelly and Dan Coates.
Who is the governor of Indiana?
Indiana's political leader is Mike Pence.
Did you hear that, TUCat? Mike Pence. What do you think about him? You know how we think about politics on this channel. So anyway, it feels kind of like Star Trek, right? I mean, it feels kind of like the future is now. You can just kind of make it do whatever. Alexa, play classical music.
Here's a station for classical music.
So
classical focus.
Just go in, chill, have some classical music playing. Alexa, set family room lights to 30%. There you go. Now I've got dim lights, some tunes, some TUCat. Alexa, am I sexy?
Let's change the topic.
That was rude. Okay, enough of this. Well, there'll be a full video on this eventually after I play with it for a while, but I thought it would be some fun vlog-worthy content. So yeah, anyway, Amazon Echo Dot works pretty well. I might get some Bluetooth speakers that are coming in for review, so that this will be the perfect thing to test out with those, because the speaker that's built into this isn't really fantastic. I mean, given its size, it's to be expected, but I just need to make sure TUCat doesn't destroy it, because it is kind of in the line of fire with where he goes. Yeah, you know I'm talking about you. Alexa, turn off family room lights. It's times like this when it pays off to have an antenna. I'm able to use my HD home run software to actually, I guess I should point at the TV there, to watch the World Series. Of course, I am, you know, hoping the Cubs win, considering how long it's been. It just seems right, but they're not having a great fourth inning here. They really need to do something here. But yeah, so antenna time. Also, I upgraded Alexa a little bit by adding some speakers here. So now, Alexa, check timer.
About 3 minutes and 20 seconds left.
So yeah, a lot clearer now with those speakers. All right, back to fixing dinner and watching baseball.
Oh, I forgot.
I don't know if you guys watched this guy, this Lewis guy.
I still have this plugged in.
He's kind of a dick, but he runs a repair shop that does Apple stuff, and he's just railing on the new MacBook right now because he can't get his dongles to work on USB-C. So anyway, I'm watching that live stream, but I gotta go get the mail.
Okay.
And I've been outside a few times today. Whoa, focus, Sony. I'm actually giving serious consideration. I have some stuff coming in from NZXT, and I think I might actually switch my main system from the AI Crystal over to the S340 Elite. I don't know. I might do it. I don't know why I feel like I might do it, but I think I might do it and just go full NZXT, because I'm gonna get a new Kraken for review, and then I'm gonna get their RGB fans, and I could just have like full NZXT going on. Plus, I'm told getting the fans out of this case, and I'm told from the manufacturer, is not easy, so that's slightly concerning. TUCat is just having a fit. All morning when I was in here emailing, he was driving me nuts. Today's date is November 2nd, and it is 78 degrees outside. 78 degrees. It's warmer today than it was some of the days we had in like August and September. Just crazy. TUCat's in the window. He's upset. Aren't you, buddy? Alright. Very nice out. I'm gonna have to cut the grass again. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna have to cut the grass again. November 2nd. These people just got theirs cut this morning. Nope, no mail again. For the third day in a row, which is starting to seem a little suspicious. Isn't it, TUCat? He's loving this weather. Alright, so I'm gonna get back to watching Lewis go crazy here. But I showed this last night, but it's been working out really, really well. I've got the system hooked up, the Alexa system, the Echo Dot hooked up to my A2 Plus speakers here up on my bookshelf, and it works surprisingly well. Alexa, play 1989.
1989 by Taylor Swift.
So it does a pretty good job. I think I've got volume all the way up, but I have a volume back on here too. I'll stop that before I get nailed with copyright. Right, copyright cat? But the other thing that I set up last night was I finally put the last LifeX bulb to work, but it was a pain in the butt to get set up again, just as it was on the other ones. Really need to do something about that. Alexa, turn on master bedroom.
Okay.
That's so handy. Alexa, trigger master bedroom cyan.
Sending that to it.
Look at that. Once you take the time to set everything up, it actually does work pretty well. So yeah, of course, I couldn't just do things like a little bit. I had to go all out, but I've been trying to figure out something to do with these A2 Plus speakers, and you know, now I know. It just really sounds pretty good. I can be laying on the couch on my laptop and just tell it to play music, and it'll play music. Play Phil Collins.
Shuffling songs by Phil Collins.
So yeah, works pretty well. I just changed TUCat's litter this morning, and he's happy. Look at that, he always runs out of the box. Why do you gotta run? What's with the running? Like something's gonna attack you in there? I'm still geeking out on the whole Echo Dot thing. So, a little bit of free website work, and you know, you never know what's gonna come your way. That's why I do stuff, you know, I have a general rule. If something's not going to be extremely time consuming, but it's a project that may sharpen my skills and allow me to try something new, and it's a friend or somebody that I know, I typically will, as long as it's not going to be super time consuming, go ahead and just do it and help that person out. And sometimes you get something like that in return, and it's something that you can add to your portfolio. So always a good thing. Sometimes it's worth it just to do stuff kind of pro bono and just sharpen your skill set and be able to add more to your list of projects. That's just my, when you're kind of getting started out kind of spiel, and you never know. Sometimes cool stuff floats your way, and a really itchy nose again. I'm really enjoying that. So, and that's not something I would have bought. It's not. I was thinking about the Google Home, but then Google wasn't playing nice with responding to me for review samples, so I was like, screw it. I don't need any kind of home automation thing or anything like that. Echo Dot, not the super easiest thing to set up, but if you know what you're doing, then it works pretty well. And really, especially the integration with the if this then that application works really well, because you can tell it if Alexa gets a certain command, and then you can have it do all kinds of different stuff. So you can say, you can set a phrase for that thing, and then, I just activated it by saying that, but you can set a phrase for that thing, and then have it pretty much do anything you can really think of. The app is so flexible. So, yeah, really enjoying that. What was I gonna talk about? I did have a purpose. Oh, I finally got the email from Samsung that I totally forgot that I had even done. What's going on here? Oh, text messaging. By the way, loving the Moto 360 Gen 2. And this band, I don't know if it's gonna focus on that. This band has really worked out really well. Super comfortable, doesn't snag my hairs like some bands do. I had that issue with the metal band. This is the actual like Pebble branded band, because I did the Kickstarter thing, and I think the band was like a free thing if you did the Pebble Time steel. But give the Sony a minute to focus here. See, this is where touch to focus on the Canon cameras is really nice, because I could just touch the screen and tell it to focus. There we go. But yeah, this was the band that actually came with it. So this is the Pebble branded band for the Pebble Time steel. And it's a nice band, don't get me wrong, and it feels solid. I mean, the Pebble Time steel feels like a very solid watch. Actually, it feels more substantial than the Moto 360. It's a well-built watch. It feels nice. And you know what? It's been super reliable too, by the way, on the Android. It's still connected, and I haven't used this thing in a while. I just keep charging it periodically. But this band would snag my arm hair sometimes, and I found that with metal bands, that can be an issue for people that have, you know, fairly hairy arms, which you can see I do, and it's an issue. It's an issue with some watch bands. This one, not an issue. Hasn't snagged me yet, which is good. Yeah, so got the LifeX bulb going in the bedroom. It's doing well. But just a little bit of setup with this little Echo Dot. I'm looking forward to actually kind of doing the full review on how it's working out. Again, just like the lights, I've got to give it a little more time, because these bulbs, they do get a little finicky with the Android phone. Sometimes you have to restart the phone to get these things to get back on the network. And when I added the other bulb, I did have to go to my 2.4 gigahertz network, do the setup, jump back to my 5 gigahertz network. So it's a thing that you got to jump through to make it work. But it seems like once they get set up, for the most part, they seem to be fine. But yeah, so anyway, what was I talking about? Samsung. I had submitted a rebate. Apparently when you bought the Galaxy S7 unlocked US version, you could get either like a 256 gigabyte micro SD card, which I didn't need. I've got a 64, I think a 64 in there, and it's more than enough. And then or you could do the Gear VR like headset, and I'm like, you know what, I haven't tried VR. I feel like it's a thing I should do. Being a tech channel, I should try VR. And I submitted the thing, and you have to put in, like, you know, the number for the phone and your wireless MAC address, which is kind of weird. You submit all that to like verify that you actually own the device, and you have to send in your receipt and all that stuff. And then it said that it was under review. Like it didn't, speaking of watches, hit my watch. It didn't immediately go through, and it was under review, and it finally got approved. But then it said allow 12 weeks to receive it. That's gonna be one of those things that shows up, and I'm gonna have no recollection that it was even on the way. That said, when it does show up, I am excited to try it out. Apparently it comes with some download codes for stuff apparently in the Oculus store that you can play with. So yeah, I don't know. I have no expectations going into VR whatsoever. I know PlayStation VR is out. It seems like it's having mixed reviews. I haven't looked into it too much. PS4 Pro is like kind of happening, but it seems from the consensus there that even if you have a 4K TV, it's really not totally worth it unless you have a high dynamic range 4K TV. Now, if you have that, apparently it does look super nice in games that are HDR enabled. But I'm perfectly fine with my 60-inch 1024x768 TV. I game on that. I've been playing Tomb Raider on that. I've been playing Final Fantasy 13 on that. Play a little bit of Doom. It looks fine. From where I'm sitting, I am ballparking 10 to 12 feet away from a 60-inch TV at 1080p. It still looks fine. It looks sharp. It looks good. I'm happy with it. I don't see any reason to upgrade at this point. 2 or 3 years down the road, I'll probably make the jump to 4K, but it's just, the prices to me still need to come down a little bit more. I remember doing the same thing when 1080 came out, and I got a 720p 1080i TV that I'm actually still using, believe it or not. That was a plasma Panasonic TV that hit the target price I was looking for, which was $999. It dropped below $1,000, and it was a 42-inch, and I thought that was so big. And I remember setting that thing up, and it was thick. I mean, it was like that thick, gets hot. I mean, it was a beast. But I remember the very first thing I did when I got that is I got an HD over-the-air antenna and put on PBS, and it was a show on wolves, and my roommate and I at the time stared at that. We were amazed. TUCat was literally pawing at the TV because it looked so real, like it kind of blew his mind too. And then the TV lasted a few years, and then like half of the screen went out. And I was really annoyed with that. But with that being such an early plasma TV, it was still easily serviceable. So I did some online research, figured out what it was. There was one of 2 different boards that it could have been that needed replaced. One board was like $40, the other one I think was $15 or $20. I ordered both of them, found out which one it was, returned the other one, paid a little bit of a restocking fee. I think I was total in for like $30 with shipping and everything to fix that TV, and knock on wood, it still works like a champ today, years later. And that was, I bought that TV in 2007, like end of 2007, I want to say. So that's been 9 years, and it was a couple years after it broke. So I think it's been 6 or 7 years since I repaired that television, and it's still going. So apparently it was just a bad part that shipped with it. And I hope that it keeps rolling, and the parts still look like they're available. So as long as the actual panel doesn't go out, I should be okay to fix it. And it looks fantastic. It's a great looking TV, and being plasma, the blacks are super inky dark and rich, and it's in my bedroom. I use it every night. It's a great TV, and in the winter it's nice because it actually warms the room up a little bit. But I waited until they came below $1,000. Of course, now $1,000 for not even a 1080p 42-inch TV is like, what? That's crazy. But we're gonna be saying the same thing about these 4K TVs. And if I get one, I want it to be HDR. And I know that that's like in, not the high tier, but it's like north of $1,500 for a 60 to 65-inch TV. And if I'm going 4K, the TV needs to be big in order to really get the benefit of that. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait it out for a couple more years. I'm perfectly happy with the TV I've got now. So yeah, the 4K train, I'm not quite on it yet. I'll probably end up being there on my actual computer setup side before I am on the TV side. But I don't put any content out for the channel in 4K either. I just don't see the point at this point in time. But, you know, it's growing. It's growing, just like the 1080p and 720p stuff did back when HD was becoming big, and that took off fast. I remember working at Best Buy in like 2002, and we were getting in the tube, like CRT HD TVs with the feed that was coming in through a satellite, and I remember thinking, nothing, I mean, how long is it gonna be before stuff's actually broadcasting this? And you know, fast forward 4 years later, and you know, stuff was happening. I remember Planet Earth was like the big thing to have. That was the Blu-ray to get. HD DVD and Blu-ray were still fighting it out back then. And I remember my roommate backed HD DVD and he got burned. I didn't back either of them. And I ended up going Blu-ray just because of having the PlayStation. But yeah, I remember Planet Earth. That was the thing to have. If you wanted to show off your new high definition TV, you got Planet Earth, because that was like, whoa, when that came out. But, you know, it took 4 years from the first time I saw it. I was like, ooh, ah. And I don't think I actually bought it until 5 years after I first laid my eyes on HD. So it's kind of the same thing with 4K, in my opinion. But I feel like I'm behind the curve on VR as well. So it should be interesting to see what happens when I get the Gear VR or whatever. So, you know. But again, I was kind of behind the times on the Android Wear as well. I was using a Pebble and taking a lot of heat for, you know, you're not using an Apple Watch and you're not using Android Wear. Why are you using this antiquated thing? Well, this antiquated thing is a good watch. I mean, look how visible that screen is. It's very easy to read. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't easy to read as well, but I have to wait. Well, let me get the text message off the screen. That's what it looks like when it's lit up, so it's like super easy to read. But when it goes to sleep, that's, you know, that's when you really get, go to sleep. That's when you get an idea for like what it looks like just in general. So, I mean, still easy to read, but this thing, you could read this in low light and in all kinds of different situations. Sony, focus. But yeah, this was easy to read even in low light, and then if you needed to get a little more light, you could just shake it, and the backlight would come on. And the battery life on this was great, and it slowly refocusing. It was, it's supposedly color, but the color on it's not very good. You know, when you compare it to the color that, you know, you get off of this, you know, obviously that color is a lot more vibrant than the color that you were getting off of the Pebble, but the focus. It actually says Kickstarter backer on my Pebble. So I was behind this thing from the very beginning, and I remember this was delayed. There was so many delays getting this thing out, and then they had to ship it with the leather band, and you had to wait like, gosh, like a month or so before they actually sent out the steel band separately. So it was kind of a mess, the launch for it. It didn't go super smooth. And then when I was using it with iOS, I was just frustrated with it constantly. But ever since Android, it seems to be behaving itself. So the Pebble, I always felt like should have been kind of, you know, operating system agnostic, if anything, because it wasn't really part of anybody's ecosystem. It wasn't Apple's creation, and it wasn't, you know, Android. It wasn't Google's thing. So I understand why the Moto 360 Gen 2 is obviously going to be happier on an Android device, although it does claim it's iOS compatible, but I wouldn't try that. And obviously the Apple Watch just straight up is like, boom, you got to be using an iPhone. The Pebble I really thought would go both ways pretty easily, and it didn't. It really apparently just favors Android. I think Apple is just so closed. They really want to push people to the Apple Watch, and I haven't really heard anybody complain about the Apple Watch having connectivity issues who has an iPhone. So, as I've said before, if you're in the Mac ecosystem, you just you need to stay in the Mac ecosystem. You know, have the Mac OS computer, have the Watch OS smartwatch, have the iOS phone, you know, just stay in that nice little cocoon bubble, whatever you want to call it, and everything should be hunky-dory. It's a little bit different on the Windows Android side. Everything's kind of just all over the place. That's why I'm hoping Google Pixel can help unify the Android experience a little bit more, especially with Google now coming out with their own smartwatch. I think we're going to see Android Wear kind of take a big step in the right direction too. So it's nice to see competition. Apple, I think, is making a lot of missteps right now. I think they pissed a lot of people off with the new MacBooks. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are still going to buy the MacBook Pros. There's those people that just, I mean, in all honesty, I feel like Apple kind of screwed those people because they need those machines. And there's people that held out for a long time, you know, waiting for this update. And now they have to shell out like $3 grand for a well-equipped 15-inch MacBook Pro, which, you know, may have been what they were going to spend anyway, but I don't know. I feel like they kind of shorted their customers on that one, and there's people that are really, you know, their workflow is Final Cut Pro 10, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you work, whatever you work best in is what you should use. And for those people, I feel bad because it's kind of a sting, you know what I mean? And then on the Windows side, you got the Dell XPS series, you've got the Razer Blade, and you got the Razer Blade Stealth. And they're pretty expensive. I mean, they're, you know, anywhere from $12,000 $1,200 to $2,000 is kind of the range of those. But by the time you get to like $2,000, you're kind of getting to like the high end. You know what I mean? Like that's a well-equipped, well-built Windows machine. Whereas like I feel like you have to add an extra $1,000 on that to kind of get to that same place with the MacBook Pro, and that's unfortunate. You know, especially for those people that are really into the Apple ecosystem. I get it and I feel for them, and it kind of sucks. I wish they hadn't done that to their customers. I genuinely do. I don't have anything against Apple. I get on rips when people try to say that they're just as affordable, especially now, because it's really not the case. But damn if they don't make a nice looking computer. I will say that. But so does Razer and so does Dell. It's actually a really good time if you're looking for a mid to high end laptop to be in the market. As a matter of fact, screens are getting a little crazy. These 4K laptop screens, I think the Razer Blade Stealth, it's like a 13-inch screen in that laptop and you can get it in 4K. Window scaling isn't meant for that. It's just, you're gonna have issues with that. So yeah, we may need to scale things back a little bit on those screen resolutions on the laptops, in my opinion, because if there's one thing Apple does well, they scale, and they scale well. So, anywho, it's thundering? Is it actually gonna storm? It's pretty warm. Oh, I just got, what's going on here? You know what we can do? You know what we can do to find out? If you have an Echo, by the way, I apologize because this is probably screwing with your system. Alexa, what is the temperature?
Currently, in Brownsburg, it's 76 degrees with partly sunny skies. Tonight, you can look for rainy weather with a low of 60 degrees.
The partly sunny skies part's not true. But the rainy part I do believe, because it's clouding up pretty good out there.
Sunset is at 6:41 p.m.
Yeah, so we're coming up on sunset pretty quick here. So that's part of the reason it's getting dark. I do need to go out and mow the grass. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, and it's steak night tomorrow night. So that's cool, which means I'll be editing the vlog late. I did get the challenge from somebody on Facebook to try to edit the blog in Final Cut 10, like I mentioned earlier, because I do own it, and it will run on the MacBook Air. So I may start doing it, and if it's just too painful, I'm gonna bail and go back to Premiere, but I'm not one to back down from a challenge. And if this person claims that you can do more on less with Apple hardware, I'm gonna take it to the test when it comes to video. Obviously, everybody knows on gaming, that's just, if you're gaming, you're on Windows. But, you know what? I'll try it. I'll try it. I'm not gonna sit here and blindly bash something until I've at least had my own experience with it. So, with that said, I'm gonna go, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna play Final Fantasy. All right, I'm not usually a big sports fan, but Game 7, World Series, Cubs are in it, and I'm like really on edge right now. I'm like energy levels like through the roof, just glued to the TV. This is why I have an antenna, because it's just so much better to be able to just get the local affiliate, get the local Fox affiliate in and just watch it. And yeah, so Cubs are up right now. Hopefully they can hold the lead. I would love to see the Cubs take the World Series. I really, really would, like I said yesterday. So yeah, just kind of like tripping right now, actually. Like really, really full of energy at the moment. So yeah. Which, by the way, the antenna is actually working really well. It's been flaky for so long, but thankfully Fox is one of the channels that gets in well, and that just happened to work out, so that's good. I guess I can turn the light behind me back on. I turn this light off when I'm doing my thing because it's just easier for the camera when I do that, but yeah, the light's dimmed, so that means rain's coming. And there you have it. Cubs, World Series champions. Who would have ever thought? But it happened, and it was a crazy game. 10 innings, there was a rain delay, whole thing was crazy, but they won. So pumped. I'm just gonna sit here and bask in it, but wow. Never have I been more stressed out watching a sporting event than I was watching that. That was crazy. I'm gonna watch the celebration on TV. That just, wow, amazing. Congratulations, Cubs. 2016 World Series champions. Okay, so the challenge is officially on. I have my MacBook Air set up here, along with, of course, an external hard drive, which is much needed since there's like 5 megabytes of storage in here. There's actually 128 gigabytes, but still not nearly enough to really get much done. I've got everything just kind of hodgepodge hooked up here through like a USB hub and all kinds of different stuff, but hey, at least I have USB ports and things available to be able to plug this in. I'm using a mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort cable to take everything over to my 27-inch screen. Now this is asking a lot of this computer because here are the specs of this bad boy. This is a mid-2013 MacBook Air with a 1.3 gigahertz Core i5, 4 gigabytes of DDR3, and Intel Graphics 5000 with 1.5 megabytes of video memory. This would not be able to handle Premiere at all. My friend Douglas claims that I'll be able to edit in the new version of Final Cut with no problem. However, I am going to take the chance of updating to Sierra before I do this, and let's check some hard drive space before I do that update. So, how much do I have available right now? 17.94 gigabytes available before doing this update. So supposedly this clears up some space. We'll see. I've got to let it download. I don't have Ethernet hooked up to this. I don't have an adapter, and this requires an adapter to use Ethernet. So we're just gonna have to let this go the long route and finish up the long way. So I do seriously have my doubts about how well this is going to go. I honestly do. I've got all the files that I needed copied over to that external drive, and I've updated Final Cut Pro. Now I haven't used Final Cut Pro 10 since version like 10.1 something, I believe, and now we're on 10.3. So it's had a pretty significant overhaul very recently, and I'm just not used to the workflow. So if anything, it's a little bit of training for myself to stay sharp in Final Cut Pro 10 because there are rare occasions when I need to use it. Not so much anymore. In the past, there were times when I was asked because the New York office wanted things in Final Cut. So it's not gonna hurt anything by trying to do this, but it may test my patience because the system is incredibly under spec. 1.3 gigahertz dual core i5 and 4 gigabytes of DDR3 1600 memory with 128 gig SSD. So yeah, the one thing I have noticed, it is dead silent in here, which is weird. I'm used to the AI Crystal case running, you know, with the what processor's even in there? I totally forget. Is it the, yeah, I believe it's the Intel 6850K. So anywho, it's a lot quieter than having that system running with, gosh, how many fans are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 fans total in that AI Crystal case. So considering it's actually not very loud, but the one teeny tiny little fan that only kicks on when it needs to in the MacBook Air, it's like eerily quiet in the office right now. This is usually the laptop that sits with me on the couch. I'm trying to look up how to do things in games like Final Fantasy 13, which is what I'm doing right now. But I like a good debate when it's structured well, and the challenge was presented to me to edit the vlog using Final Cut Pro 10 with this underpowered system. I said it couldn't be done. I was told that it can, so today we find out. And I'm not going to consider this a win unless it's actually a workable, usable workflow. If I'm putting things in the timeline and having to wait like 5 minutes for something to be able to be workable, I don't consider that usable. So it has to actually be like a decent editing experience in order for me to be okay with this. Otherwise, I'm going to bail and I'm going to go back to Premiere to finish up the edit so I can get the vlog out. But I will actually vlog my way through this, and then the very conclusion will be that, basically. So, there you have it. Oh yeah, while I'm waiting for Sierra to finish up there, macOS Sierra, 2 things arrived today. The AERRGB 120. I don't know if this is a set of 2 fans or 1 fan and the Hue. I think it's 2 fans in the Hue, judging by the size of the box. I really hope it's 2 fans so I can put those into the S340 Elite, and then the Kraken X62. Now, I'm really hoping that this one works, because if you have been following this channel for a while, you know that I had issues with the X61. I had 2 bad ones in a row, and that was a bummer. I do like the look of this, and I like that this ring kind of matches what they've got going on here, and they are using the similar design fans, except these are designed for static pressure for the Kraken, whereas I believe these are the airflow style fans for getting case cooling. So I'm thinking the way I'll probably end up doing this is I'm gonna have that cooler, the Kraken is gonna have to be up here, because if you remember in this case, there's just not enough space. All you're seeing is my ceiling fan, but up here there's not enough space. So I'll probably put one of the fans, the AER fans up there, the RGB ones, and one there, and then I'll have the Kraken up front, and then that should give this thing the full NZXT look. That glass is just making things hard to focus on. And then just switch the build over. You know me, always gotta be tinkering. Still on vomit watch with TUCat. Not sure what all that noise and fuss was about earlier. He does have that kind of concerned look on his face though, does he not? Alright, Mac OS Sierra. It says, click restart to install. I hope I don't regret this situation. I hope I don't regret this decision. This is asking a lot from a very old and fairly underpowered computer. You'll notice I have this black cover on it. Just, that's helped keep everything protected over the years. Eventually I'll probably resell this thing. It's in mint condition, but it really has been a handy Ultrabook. It's been super handy for email. Like I said, for having on the couch, I'm looking stuff up when I'm gaming, all that good stuff. It really has served its purpose. It has been useful. I got this in mid-2013, I believe. So I've had it for over 3 years, and it's served me well. As a matter of fact, I still even have the box for it. The upgrade to Mac OS Sierra, not the fastest thing. But again, we are dealing with this. So I'm making some coffee, and I am making one of the sample pack flavors. I'm actually almost through the sample pack, so San Francisco Bay is going to be making its debut soon. It's so dark in this house. I need to open more blinds. But anyway, this blueberry coffee, it's like wild blueberry something. It really has a lot of blueberry in it. It's a very strange combination of coffee and blueberry. You can actually smell it as it's brewing. I might have one more left. Got a mocha nut fudge. Buttered coffee. French vanilla. Okay, good, good. Mudslide, no. Hazelnut. I mean, I'll do hazelnut, but it's not my favorite. Then there's this Irish cream one, and it's like in this weird thing. Nope, not interested. But anyway, the wild blueberry one, I kind of like it, I kind of don't, but I don't know. I felt like going wild today, trying it out. So as you can see, the coffee maker, I mean, it takes it a couple of minutes to get going, but once it does pretty well. I mean, it moves quick once it gets rolling. Once it heats up, which takes about 1.5 minutes, it gets firing. And for the price I paid for this thing, well worth it. Maybe I'll link it below, if I remember to link it below. I always say that, and I always forget. All right, I'm gonna let the final drips come out of there, and then I'm gonna enjoy my cup of coffee. Finish watching David DeFranco's vlogs. I'm finally catching up on those, and wait for Sierra to finish, and then I can get to editing. Okay, so definitely not the best lighting in the world. The Final Cut experiment failed miserably. Complete fail with Final Cut Pro. And not so much on the fault of the computer side. It actually was able to hold up fairly well. And if this one major flaw hadn't kept occurring, I probably would have been able to successfully edit the vlog on my MacBook Air from over 3 years ago. However, this happens. I keep getting this particular error, and when you click on the details for that error, you see that you get this. The 10008 Final Cut Pro error. And if you look into what this is, it means that there is a small glitch somewhere in one of your video files. So the only way to really figure out what that is to actually get out of Final Cut and go to your video file and see if you can find it. So this is how much it was able to render. So how far did we get before it glitched out? This week. Doing stuff nyop. We got about 1:08 in and it glitched out. A lot this week. Doing stuff nyop. Right there, 1:08. So when you go back into Final Cut and you jump to where about 1:08 would be. Base a lot this week. Doing stuff nyop. Boom. Glitch. So this happens in the clip. And whenever that happens, the file fails to transfer. So yeah, I have no idea why it's doing that, and I've actually started the project over and then it glitches in a different spot. So it's not always the same spot where the file decides to glitch when it goes into the timeline. So I have no idea why it's doing this, and it unfortunately makes the software completely useless. So now I'm gonna actually load up the same file in Premiere Pro, and remembering that it was around 1:08, I also know another spot where it was liking to glitch a lot as well. And I'm gonna see if I have the same problem. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, no, I'm not gonna have that same problem. So let's see if I'm right. Okay, interesting little development in this situation here. The same glitch appears to also be happening in Premiere, but only on the clip from the external hard drive, which is weird. I'm not really sure why that would be the case. So I am trying to actually export the flawed clip because I am still seeing the same glitch in the timeline. Excuse me, but I'm trying to do it using Premiere Pro to see if it will just get through it, basically. I'm also exporting that clip to the external hard drive as well. So now I've put some color correction in place. I've pretty much replicated everything I was doing in the Final Cut Pro edit, except I'm doing it in Premiere Pro, and we're gonna see how this works out. I know the exact point where it glitches, so it should be pretty interesting. It should have failed by now if it was going to, I'm pretty sure, but it seems like it's still going okay. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why. Final Cut's very particular about it, but I also don't know why I'm getting the glitch from the external hard drive, but I'm not getting it on the internal drive. That's strange. I'm not really sure what's going on there. So yeah, interesting. It's almost done. Also, of course, I'm using the new version of Premiere Pro as I'm doing this test, so like little things here and there are different because that's just the way it is. The Lumetri filters, you know, waveforms are slightly different. Oh, excuse me. I just made everybody yawn. Slightly different, like the RGB parade. I had to dig a little bit to find that, but anyway, I think it's done. Let's see. Western Digital Elements is saying that there's a problem with the drive, but it looks like it did export to it, so that's strange. So I'm wondering if it's my external hard drive that's giving me the problem here. Perhaps it is. So the next step would be to find some kind of storage medium that's large enough to actually be able to get away with this. So that export also failed. Interesting.
Wow, it is bright in here today.
Well,
just fell off
showing that it's working.
I'm going to pretend like I didn't see that, buddy.
Over sharpened really bad.
Is up, and instead of the usual 1 week. So yeah.
Yeah, so it did not finish. It did not finish that export. It failed. Huh. Okay, so I think we've got a drive issue. More investigation must take place. All right, more awkward lighting. I think I finally solved the problem. I don't know what it was with that hard drive. I actually, weirdly enough, I had to go into Windows and set the USB disk drive to performance mode, which is the mode where it transfers faster, but if you don't securely eject the device, like within Windows, it can really screw it up. So I did that, and then recopied all the files back onto the external drive. Now everything seems to be working okay. And I have to admit, the workflow in Final Cut Pro 10, now that I've been in it for a little while and using it, it's like kind of like riding a bike. You forget and then you pick it back up again. I've picked it back up again. So I'm actually finding I'm working fairly quickly, actually, in Final Cut Pro 10, especially in the updated version of it. I'm able to color correct really fast when I need to. Getting clips in and out is going really well. And strangely enough, the MacBook Air is doing fine. I am having no problems whatsoever on this i5 1.6. What is this thing again? I keep forgetting. It's so low spec. Yeah, 1.3 gigahertz Intel Core i5 with 4 gigs of memory. And it's doing, I'm actually gonna leave that up, it brightens things up a bit. It's doing just fine. No problems at all, no skips, no nothing. So I hate to admit this, but Douglas, if you're watching, which you better be since I'm doing this challenge because of you, it looks like the MacBook Air is indeed actually going to work. It is very frustrating that Final Cut is so sensitive to the teeniest little errors though in the file. Although Premiere, it was a pretty blatant one. Premiere was able to blast through some of them, but it even tripped up Premiere Pro. So I don't know what happened with that file transfer the last time, but everything, I've got the timeline going here. Let me just show it. Of course, I'm still using the Roamer G, even though I'm using Mac OS. But yeah, timeline is up. It's a very simple timeline. There's not a whole lot going on. And then, of course, you know, all the clips up here, I can just kind of select my in and outs. That's really nice. You know, you got the TUCat up there. The color balance is over there. So you got the RGB parade and all that good stuff. And then all the different effects. It's working just fine. Everything is super snappy. I mean, I'm able to scrub. I can hit the stand. I'm able to start playing. I have no problems with that. Everything works just a-okay. And it's all being done off of this little old MacBook Air. So I'll be the first to admit when I'm proven wrong. And in this case, I bet, well, I didn't bet anything on it, but I was really willing to bet that this was not going to work. So I'm not done with the vlog yet. We'll see how long it actually takes to export it. As a matter of fact, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a test export now and see how that goes. Okay, so anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to do the export on this for 1080, and I'm gonna export it to the external drive. So we'll see how well it handles me doing that. So I have it set for format, computer. It's saying it's gonna be 3.48 gigabytes right now. Pretty beefy file, I mean, no doubt. Color space is Rec 709, and I'm gonna have it do nothing when it's done. And let's see here, we'll do next, and I'm gonna save it to, am I saving to the external Western Digital Elements? Yes, TUVlog 27 test. And yeah, so now it just goes. So it like kind of renders and then like it still lets me do stuff. So that's kind of the cool thing. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. So even though it's still rendering the file, I'm still able to scrub the timeline. I'm still able to go up here and jump around. I mean, I can jump down to the next clip I'm gonna edit. And you can see the color is kind of off on that one, but that's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. And then up here, you can actually click and it'll show what it's doing. Now, it's not going to do the export or what it's called sharing until I basically leave things alone. The computer has to be idle in order for it to actually take out this file. But yeah, so this is a 23-minute file that I'm exporting on an old Core i5 1.3. And it's actually going a lot faster than I actually thought it was going to go. The fact that it's clipping along at the rate that it is actually fairly impressive, I'm not gonna lie. The reason that I'm so impressed with this is not because it's a Mac and not because it's Final Cut or anything like that. It has nothing to do with the platform or anything. It's just the tool itself is efficient, and that's nice to see when that happens. Which I guess Apple does need to start making things be very efficient, because their computers, for the price they're charging, aren't the fastest things in the world. And you certainly are making a gigantic investment in order to get into the ecosystem of Final Cut if you buy a new computer. But seeing this, if you're in the market for an Apple laptop, you really could just go for one generation back and probably save a decent amount of money. The computer is actually really quiet, and from how it feels, it doesn't feel like it's too hot. But yeah, it's already at 15%. And I don't have background rendering turned on at all right now because it takes up too much space on the teeny tiny hard drive that's in this MacBook Air. What's impressive to me is the fact that this is running, and it's running well on such old hardware, and I can't even install Premiere on this system. I tried, and it doesn't meet the memory requirement. You have to have at least 8 gigabytes of memory now in order to run Adobe Premiere Pro. Whereas Final Cut installed, no problem. I updated to Sierra, no problem. The latest version of Final Cut is actually running. The computer is starting to get fairly loud now that it's doing an export. But it's able to do all of this on hardware that's 3.5 years old and was by no means cutting edge at the time that I got it. I bought this just as a computer to use for checking email and watching YouTube videos and browsing the web in bed and whatnot. So it goes to show that optimization can go a long way if it's done properly. So anyway, let's see how much is left on this. 30%. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from editing and maybe go get a snack or something. But yeah, so far I have to say I'm not usually this surprised, and I'm not usually so certain that I'm gonna be right about something and then end up being so wrong. Well, I have to admit, I am honestly shocked. I was able to edit the entire TUVlog in Final Cut Pro 10 on the MacBook Air 2013. I'm really surprised. Notice the tripod on there? But yeah, I really did not expect to be able to get everything in here. I mean, there are a lot of edits in here. A lot of edit points. And this is a long vlog. Very, very long vlog. We actually clocked in this one at probably around 2 hours. Let's see, where does it end? 2 hours, 51 minutes, and that's without this additional clip added. So just under 3 hours, more than likely. And yes, there is lots of TUCat in this one. But yeah. So like I said earlier, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I've been proven wrong in this case. So I'm gonna have to tuck my tail between my legs and admit that one. I was trying to be an Apple hater and say that this wouldn't work, and it worked. So I have to admit I am shocked that I was able to edit a 3-hour long vlog with some effects and some various things on a 3.5-year-old MacBook Air with really basic specs. So yeah, I don't know what else to say, but impressive Final Cut. And it was a good experiment, it was a good experience, because now I'm re-polished up on at least the basics of editing in Final Cut. Should one of those projects float my way again down the road, or should I need to use it for, you know, whatever reason, it's always good to stay sharp on the tools that you may need to use. So with that being said, I do have dinner in the oven. I'm getting ready to hit render on this bad boy and let the laptop do its thing. The one side effect of editing using the MacBook Air is it's actually cold in the office. It's usually not cold in this room, especially when I'm editing, and it's cold in here right now. There's just not a lot of heat coming out of this computer. It's cold and it's really quiet in here. So having none of the big machines on is definitely not contributing to heating the room at all. I didn't realize how much it actually did. I didn't realize how much warm air came out of, especially the AI Crystal X99 build. So I guess that's good that the computer is expelling all that warm air, But yeah, without that running, it's actually a little bit chilly here in the office with these 2 windows and the colder overnight temps settling in. So like I said, dinner is in the oven. I'm gonna actually go ahead and close out the vlog. This one's been a fun one, as they usually are, and again, it ended up being longer than I anticipated. I know I say this every time. I need to be better about just posting on a more regular basis. Maybe just start doing these every few days and save myself the trouble of making these so long, and save you guys the trouble of having to get all the way through to the end, which if you've made it this far, you're probably coming up on the 3-hour mark, which is impressive. If you enjoyed this vlog or any of my other videos, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button, give it a like, do your thing. You can of course also follow me on Twitter and Instagram as Tech Uploaded. I'm on Facebook, so go ahead and join the Tech Uploaded Facebook group. I highly suggest you do, because that's where I have a lot of the conversations over in the messages section on there, and that's just facebook.com/techuploaded, or just search for Tech Uploaded on Facebook. I'm hoping that I show up on there. And of course, you can also send me an email at techuploaded@gmail.com. And you know the drill. Don't be a stranger. Check back soon.